Sports on Tap is brought to you by the Joe Wright Group with Dobie Real Estate, Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank, Time Out with Steven Scott, presented by Baldman Entertainment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, with loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping. With news that's jaw dropping, they're getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke, from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening, if you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and ride with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go and all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Welcome to Sports on Tap. We are back after a relatively brief hiatus. We had to move studios, as the studio we were previously in, I was moving out of, so...
Lease was up, time to go.
Yes, lease was up, so it was time to go.
Shit we had to do. It is what it is.
Shit we had to do. So we are finally back in our makeshift studio as of now, but that will change here, hopefully sooner rather than later. But
yeah, right now we've put together a studio so we can get back to doing the show, because we all talked about it. We miss doing the fucking show.
We do miss doing the show, and so
and Frank unfortunately has a minimal time left to do the show for now.
Yes, I'm hoping it gets situated before then, but it's looking like May 10th for right now.
So we wanted to get back in and start doing shows again before your hiatus happens, or your possible hiatus happens.
Right.
So going from one hiatus to another.
I think this is the most times we've ever used the word hiatus.
Yeah.
The entirety of the time we've done this show.
We're just going to keep using the word hiatus.
I guess. I was going to say, grab a pen, keep a tally. How many times Joe says hiatus?
Yeah, right.
It was on my word a day calendar. Shut up.
So at least you're using it correctly.
Yeah.
Not like one of those people who's like, I'm going to use a big word because it sounds like it'd be cool here.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work at all.
And then it doesn't fit.
Because they don't understand what the word actually means.
Right.
Yeah, they just want to sound smart. No.
You can't let that shit happen. You can't.
You got that fucking right.
You absolutely should let that shit happen. Let people sound like idiots.
Yes, you should, but I mean, whatever.
Let
Anyways.
the stupid expose itself.
This is true. So, since our last show, when was our last show?
Not like that, Joe. Not like that.
I can't. I'm going to gloss past that one.
Probably a good idea.
Very good idea. When was our last show?
I feel
Holy
it was
shit.
like about a month ago, month and a half, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was...
Give or take.
So I don't think we did a show. I think our last show was in February. I don't think we did a single show in March.
No,
we didn't do
not.
March.
We did not do a show in March. I would say it was like right after the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think it was like last week of February.
Okay.
Yeah, that would make sense. We did our playoff extravaganza, then we did another show after that, and then I think that was it.
Yeah, and a lot of shit's going on since
A fucking lot.
since our last show. Tom Brady retired, and then decided he wanted, then unretired.
Coach K has retired and now might be unretiring again.
Jesus,
Is he really unretiring?
It's a possibility.
Oh, great.
I think it was on the Roy Williams show or whatever. Roy Williams was talking about the fact that he's very close to deciding he wants to come back now because of the way he went out, losing twice to North Carolina. So again, it's all about him. But
goes out 50-50 and loses to NC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
As a competitor, I could understand wanting to come back. I'm not saying he should.
You did your farewell tour, man. Just hang it up.
Hang it up, man.
Hang it up.
Let's see. Aaron Rodgers signed his new deal with Green Bay, and then they promptly traded Devontae, his best receiver, Devontae Adams, to the Raiders.
And then
cool.
he signs his mega deal, and then they instantly go, okay, Devontae, see ya.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of you, bro.
I have a feeling that's been known, though, because Devontae had purchased a house in Vegas like 3 weeks before that. So, yeah. So before Rodgers' deal was ever even signed, Devontae had, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want you guys thinking I was getting my hopes up on it. But
Did you get the jersey yet?
No, I have not gotten the jersey yet.
I'm fucking I'm shocked by that.
I'm still not convinced, or I still haven't convinced myself to get that one and not the Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones is still one of my favorite defensive players in the league.
I think he's also gun shy on getting a wide receiver jersey for the Raiders.
It's not even just a wide receiver. It's in general. Jerseys now, I'm like, shit, I got to wait like 4 or 5 games before I get this.
Yeah. But there's been a lot of movement in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Is Tyreek Hill getting traded to the Dolphins?
I don't remember an offseason with this many big moves.
No, it's been absolutely crazy.
The entire layout of the league has changed.
Von Miller going to my Bills, which I fucking love that move, especially once you basically break down the contract.
Big move.
Once you break down that contract, I'm like, yeah, I'm in for that 100%. I love it.
Well,
how can you not be? Veteran leadership. Yep. Guys like that are so important to have in your locker room.
Yeah, and obviously coming off he's got 2 rings now.
Yep.
So, and then the Bills just said, all right, the hell with it. We're going all in. I dig it. That was awesome. I loved it.
Well, and then you've got Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson with your Browns.
And his mega deal that he signed,
Jesus.
Which was basically they did just like, here, take the bank, bro. Take the bank.
I feel like that's something that the Lions would do. And it wasn't the Lions that fucking did it. It was your Browns that did it.
It was. And we talked about this already.
We did.
That move, and you've seen it. You follow on Twitter and everything. That move has
desperation.
It's so divisive.
It's like 50-50.
It's divisive.
Oh, yeah.
So the fan base has basically separated itself. And unfortunately, it's separated itself in ways that it shouldn't have, right?
Right.
So,
especially with the situation they now have going.
Right. So basically, it's separated itself in either. There's so many separations. It's weird. Like I'll try to explain a little bit. So there's you either believe Deshaun Watson or you believe the accusers, right?
Right.
And if you believe the accusers, then you're a piece of shit because he wasn't convicted.
Or you're a racist.
Or you're a racist because he's black and you're automatically assuming he's guilty. When these same people who are saying he's not guilty because they didn't, the grand jury decided not to pursue anything, are the same people that were calling Ben Roethlisberger a rapist for the past 15 years. When the grand jury decided not to press charges against him either, but yet Ben Roethlisberger is a rapist and Deshaun Watson is not guilty of anything. Okay. And then you've got the ones that are like, well, I'm a fan of Deshaun Watson. I'm not a fan of Baker Mayfield, or I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield. I'm not a fan of Deshaun Watson.
What a mess that fucking is.
Which in reality, it comes down to: are you just going to look at it football wise, or are you going to look at it in other world aspects, right? And there's so many divisive opinions in this scenario that the fan base is just arguing amongst itself nonstop. And at this point, I'll give you my thoughts on it, right? Being a Browns fan, on the football field, Deshaun Watson brings an undeniable talent to that football team. He brings way more than Baker Mayfield.
Oh, he made that position better 100%.
Way better.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, if you just want to see them win, this is a great move for you.
Yep.
But on the other side of it, I want to see them win. I think it's a great move on the football field. I don't like the aspect of it off the football field. I think they gave up too much. I think they threw the whole bank at him. They didn't give him any money this first year, basically assuring that when he does get suspended, he doesn't have to pay that much money back, or he doesn't lose that much money. Like, they're basically saying, we know you're going to get suspended. We're not going to pay you that much this year. We're going to put all your money backloaded in the contract in the last 4 years because we want you to make as much as you can. They gave him a fully guaranteed contract. It's insane. Those aspects,
in the NFL, yes.
Right. Those aspects I don't like about it. On the football field, it was an upgrade. As far as what they might have given away for it, including their morals, I have a problem with it.
Which is understandable.
But if you say that in the Browns universe to the people who only care about winning, you're a piece of shit and you're not a Browns fan. No, I'm saying he brings more to the winning table. I want them to win, and he brings that to the table. There's other aspects of it I don't like. and I'm allowed to say that as a fan. And fans need to stop this whole, if you say this or if you do this, you're not a fan. Go fuck yourself. How's that? I'm a fan in the way that I'm a fan. Mm-hmm. So you can take your fandom and shove it up your ass. I want to be my fan.
I get this in my Maple Leafs fans group. It's like if they say they play bad at night, and you call them on it. You're like, hey, this player played like shit. This player played like shit, and they're like, well, you're not a true fan. I'm like, what does that even mean? What does that mean? That I'm not a true fan? So let me get this straight. Whenever I comment on my team, it always has to be, oh, they're so great. Oh, you'll get them next time. No, that's not what. No, stop it. Being a fan is what you define being a fan is. Yeah. Now, I may disagree with your definition of fandom, and that's fine. But that's how. There is no specific definition of fandom.
And you can't tell somebody they're not a fan because they think a certain way.
Right.
You don't have to like every single player on a roster to like the team. Like you can disagree. Like I've said to people, I don't like the guy off the field at this point because when it comes to 22 women accusing a man of something and the man saying, no, I did. Listen, was he convicted? No. Should it be innocent until proven guilty? Yes. Do I tend to agree and think that these 22 women have something? Yeah, I tend to side on that side of it. But when it comes down to it, I don't have to like him off the field to root for him in the Browns uniform. It's not the way I don't have to.
I just look at that situation with Watson and the fact there is 22 women and say, okay, whether you did or didn't do it isn't the point for me, at least at this point. It's more of a question of why did you allow yourself to be put into that situation? That's where you have to start questioning things.
Well,
why do you have 22 professional masseuses?
He has way more than that because there's been other masseuses that have come out and said they had no problems with anything that happened.
Well, that's great.
And then there's been a few that have fallen off there was more than 22 and they've kind of fallen off a little bit. But like the dudes had like 100 masseuses. Right. Like it's insane. But that's why do you need that many? Because you're probably doing some shady shit.
Right.
Probably. I say probably. Accused.
And as an athlete,
allegedly,
especially of that stature, you have to know better. You can't put yourself in those positions.
I agree.
Fuck the doing it or not doing it. Don't even put yourself in the position to be accused of doing it.
Right.
I agree. And when you go to the NFL aspect of this, and we know the NFL has no morals whatsoever, except
unless you smoke weed.
No, except if you use one of their partners in DraftKings.
Don't do that either.
Bet on your team's games, but not bet on your team to win. That's a problem, apparently.
Yep. Smoking weed,
gone for a year.
Like
betting, beating your girlfriend.
Oh yeah, there you go, right there. So let me get this. So you bet, you use one of the league's partners.
Okay,
smoking weed.
Right, you bet with one of the league's partners in DraftKings.
Gone for 4
years. You bet exactly. Beating a woman. You're six
games.
Yeah, moral high ground with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
League is such a fun.
I just wanted to be cool too.
But like what Pete Carroll did at the meetings, I love what he did.
If Pete Carroll's the guy speaking logic right now, we're all fucked.
But I love what he did.
I agree.
He went in front of these owners and he basically said, "Hey, you guys are fucking assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys are totally boning these minority candidates out of positions because frankly you're fucking racists."
Yep.
And I fucking love that. Good for you, Pete Carroll.
And he worded it in a way that I can appreciate because he didn't use the trigger word of racist. He simply said, "You're afraid to hire people who don't look like you."
Yep.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Let's take all the reactive words. Let's take the headlines out of it.
Yeah, because I
just get to the point of it, and that is,
I agree with you.
Won't hire people who won't look just like you.
I agree with you there because I hate when that word gets thrown around.
Right.
Because it gets thrown around too easily. Again, going back to the Deshaun Watson situation.
It's a clickbait word.
It's one of those words that, and somebody will use it against you just because they know it's going to get to you.
Yeah.
Or like, again, me speaking out against Deshaun Watson on his personal level. Not on a playing level, on a personal level. I don't like the guy at this point because of the things that I've heard.
But you're
and I'm not judging him. I'm just saying I tend to believe 22 people over one.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily like that. And I, as a man who has a daughter at this point, there's a lot of things about that I cannot like. But because I don't like him, I'm automatically judging him because of the color of his skin and I'm a racist. No, because I judged Ben Roethlisberger too. I think Ben Roethlisberger is a rapist, and he was only accused by 2 women. So Does that make me right or wrong? Am I also racist against a white dude that played quarterback in Pittsburgh? Why is the word racist thrown out in that situation?
I believe technically you would be positionist at this point. You just hate.
I just hate quarterbacks who are accused of sexual assault. Yeah,
Right.
So I want to get your guys' opinion before we move on. We'll move on, but I want to get your opinion on the Cleveland Browns move because I want your guys' opinions on it.
Just to touch on the fans that you guys are discussing, and the fact that you are some of the rare people who are willing to speak out against your own team. Like, yes, that's a certain degree of fandom. I call those fans slapdicks, though. The ones that won't say any negative, like they exist very much.
Oh yeah,
they're the ones on Twitter. They're the ones on the radio. They're the ones on ESPN. They're those people.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you guys are the logical fan.
Right.
That's kind of the way most of us need to be, in my opinion.
I feel that, again, like I said, there's no true definition of fandom.
Right.
It's what you make of it, and that's fine. But I do feel that when your team is good and when your team is bad, you should have the leeway to say, yeah, my team's playing great now. That's awesome. I'm so happy. But you should also have the leeway when they're playing like shit. Like, dude, they fucking suck right now.
Mm-hmm.
And not get called out for that. It's
I
like,
100% agree.
Like, your team is not always going to be good. It's just not. That's not how sports work.
Like, don't get me wrong. I love the Wings. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to your face that they're even a good team right now.
Dude, they're horrendous right now.
They have flashes of being a decent team.
But they are horrendous right now.
The best I can say about a team like that, being a fan, is we're in a good position moving forward.
Right.
I like what we have. We're making moves. We're doing things.
Right.
If you can't just say, hey, they're not good right now, or hey, this is what's going well, but everything isn't, you're not a fan. You're just delusional.
Well, like, speaking of that, like the Leafs right now, like, they've played really well against like the top end of the league. Like Tampa Bay, they went down. They stomped on Tampa Bay last night.
Fucking game was insane.
They stomped on Tampa Bay. They've taken on like a lot of the top teams and actually beaten them. But then they go up against teams like Arizona and Montreal, teams that are at the bottom of the league, and they play like shit. And it's games like that like I'll go into like the Maple Leaf fan groups. And you'll see people that say, oh, they play like shit. And then somebody else will be like, you're not a true fan. Look at what they've done against this team. It's like, well, that's great and everything, but why are they playing down to their competition? Like, that's what's frustrating,
And that's the point right there. Playing down or up to your competition.
Right. Well, and every fan base has that.
Right.
And they have those people that, again, you're right, slapdicks. If you say anything bad about the team at all, then you're not a fan.
Right.
And it's like, no, you can critique your team. You can criticize your team and still be a fan of your team. That's the way it works, man. You can have an opinion. Again, it goes back to, we don't talk about politics, but politics, it's like saying, well, I'm Republican, so I agree with everything every Republican says, or I'm Democrat, I agree with everything every Democrat says. Well, you're just not fucking truthful then, because there's no way you agree with every single thing one party says. There's no way you agree with every single thing one team does. It's just impossible as a human being who is a logical thinker. And that to me tells me that these people that are like that are not logical thinkers. My team did this, so I have to like this. I'm liking this. This is great. This is fantastic.
Right.
And I'll be here to tell you, the Deshaun Watson move is fantastic for on the field.
Yes.
For off the field, I don't have to like it. And for other reasons, the trade, the amount that they traded away, the picks they traded away, and the amount of money they're guaranteeing them, I don't like it on that level either. But I'm allowed to have a differing opinion on a move and still be a fan of a fucking team. It's the way it works, man.
Dude, you can hate the move. You can shit all over it. You could shit all over everything they've done this offseason. Guess what? You'd still be a fan.
It's true.
I haven't seen the Jaguars, well, until this offseason. I haven't seen the Jaguars do one decent thing in an offseason in 20 years. I still love them. I don't know why, but I do.
That's a very valid point, Frank. That's a very valid point.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to accept the way your team is. We talk about it 16, 17 straight weeks with the Lions fans. The same applies for every other fan. Don't feel like you're being personal or singled out, Lions fans. Like,
no,
it's not personal. It's across the board.
No, and we do Lions fans a little more because it's local and it's in our home and that's what we have.
I am quite possibly the worst Lions fan in Detroit for 17 weeks out of the year because I sit here and listen to you guys shit all over them and agree half the time. But
you can't do anything but agree.
Because you're the truth.
Because you're a logical fan.
Right.
Exactly.
But again, there's truth and there's delusional beliefs.
Right.
Bing bong.
Exactly.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
To answer your question, though, as far as what I think on the Baker, Deshaun.
I've been waiting to get this from you guys. I really have.
So I want you to listen very carefully because I don't want you to react to the word. But it is a desperation move. And I don't understand why they would make a desperation move. They're not in a position to do that. They don't need to. There's nobody at risk of losing job. Like, there's nothing there that says you need to make a drastic desperation move. And that's what they did. That part I don't understand. And that's where I look at it and say, same old Browns. Your words, not mine.
Yeah.
To me, and I kind of touched on this earlier, to me it's Lion-esque.
Mm-hmm.
It's Lion-esque. You're not, even with signing Deshaun Watson, you're nowhere near winning a Super Bowl. You're not.
No, you've gone backwards.
Your team's not good enough to win a Super Bowl, even with Deshaun Watson. It's a better move. It's an upgrade over Baker.
Right.
But to give up what you gave up and to pay that man what you're going to pay him,
right?
To me, it's almost a step backwards.
And
then factor Baker into the deal.
Well, and that's the whole thing. And now you've already signed Baker to an $18 million.
That too.
You signed Baker to an $18 million
that no one will touch.
Final year, right? And then you decide to go out there and bash him when you know you're going to be trying to make this move and trade.
Right.
So you gave him $18 million. You bashed him. Mm-hmm. Now you're trying to trade that $18 million contract to a bunch of teams who heard you bash him.
Yeah.
And then now you're trying to say, well, no, those comments were false. Whether they're false or not, you let those comments get out.
Yeah.
And
then when he asked for a trade, you said no.
That's the thing that blew my mind.
Okay.
Well, and then he asks for the trade, and everyone says, well, see, that's why they're calling him not an adult. Well, name one of the three of us who hasn't gone into our boss's office and said, if things don't change here, I'm going to have to look for another job, or I'm already looking for another job. All three of us have done that.
I just recently did it. It was great.
And you actually quit and left.
And I found a new job and followed through on it.
And I'm currently looking for a new job.
So I mean, that to me wasn't a childlike move. His post on social media beforehand was kind of childlike. That was immature. That was exactly what people.
Immature is the word.
Yeah. Well, that was an immature move.
Right.
Him saying he wants to be traded. That's not immature. That's a business decision.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to say the NFL is a business. Well, he was making a business decision. You are pursuing Deshaun Watson. You made a trade for Deshaun Watson. I want to be traded. That's a business move.
I was going to say, you're in a bad situation, and you asked your team to remove you.
The immature part was what he did before that.
Yes.
That was the immature part.
And that's where a guy like him, now granted, it's not been in recent history, but in history altogether, there's been questions involving that.
When you have it in your past, you have to live that down every day.
And that's why I say, give him the credit he deserves, because those questions really have not been there since he came to the NFL. But at the end of the day,
when you do something like that,
there has always been questions.
It comes back up.
So you're going to get questioned about it now.
Yep. And at this point, nobody wants to touch that $18 million contract.
Hell no.
So the Browns.
The only one I'm hearing is Pittsburgh, who's waiting for them to cut them.
Well, and then Seattle, who's waiting until after the draft to see who they get at quarterback if they draft a quarterback in the draft. Seattle's still very much in play for Baker.
Yeah, but
word is they want Baker, just not at that $18 million. Like if that $18 million wasn't in play, they would have already made a trade for him. But it's the $18 million that throws teams off, and of course, can you blame them? It's $18 million guaranteed for a guy who has question marks going into the season. The question marks are: is he a good quarterback or is he a dud? Because he's been 50-50. And is that injury healed? He's coming back off an injury. So there's a lot of things in play there, and you put that $18 million guaranteed contract there, and teams are going to go, let's see how the draft plays out. Let's see how the draft plays out.
Which you're only hurting yourself because you're not going to get this year's draft picks for that trade. And that's probably what you're looking for.
Well, and see, in these moves bother me because they're very much Lion-esque. Chris, you said it. They're very much same old Browns type moves when you actually analyze them, right?
Right.
And when you look at it, the trade for Amari Cooper was not that. That was a brilliant.
That was a great move. I thought that was a great move.
Brilliant fucking move.
Yes.
This offseason started off tremendous for them.
I agree with you.
Because they got Amari Cooper for a 5th round fucking draft pick. That was an insane trade. That was great.
I agree with you.
And then all of a sudden you turn around and you give Baker $18 million, then you pursue another quarterback who's got a bunch of allegations off the field. You pay him a guaranteed $250 million contract, and then now you're trying to trade Baker Mayfield, who you've already bashed to everybody that would listen.
And then factor in the Jarvis Landry situation.
And then
you can go look for a trade. No, wait a minute. Don't go look for a trade. I'll go ahead and look for one.
And then we're going to release you.
Yeah, then we don't release you. And then,
but it's like you take a step forward and then you take 2 steps back.
Yeah.
And
so, but with that being said, if any of my fellow Browns fans are listening, yes, you are on my news feeds and you're listening to stuff. I'm still a Browns fan. I'm still very much a Browns fan. I just don't like some of the aspects of what they've done this offseason, and I'm allowed to not like them in certain ways.
And I think what they've done, and if I'm listing all the NFL teams and where they have them, they were a team that I was interested to see what they were going to do this year. And they move out of that category into the I'm slightly concerned about what they're going to do.
Because they were, I feel like they were like on like the cusp of doing something special.
You were 1 or 2 players away from a decent run.
I don't know if they necessarily could have done it with Baker, and I firmly believe they wouldn't have been able to do it with him.
They did it with Baker.
They did. I think they got to a level. I'm talking about getting to another level. I don't know if they could have done it with him.
And that run they made with him, to me, said that they could have done it with him.
And that's
with the right pieces. He could have been good enough to make that run. Whereas now,
get Amari Cooper, that's adding a piece to help you with that run.
Right.
Like that's can see you shooting for that.
But again,
same goal.
I'm on the side of the ones that says he's this side of the 50-50 mark. He's on the good side of the 50-50 mark. Whereas other people who are saying he's more the bad side of the 50-50 mark are the ones who are going to say, no, I don't think he could have made that run. I don't think he could have made that run with him. And I can't fault people for that at this point because Baker's been a 50-50 quarterback in the NFL. And you can make an excuse for the injury all you want to, but at the end of the day, it's just an excuse until he goes out there and proves whether he's one guy or the other. Period.
And I'm not saying his play, his anything is directly comparable. I'm saying this situation reminds me so much of Kirk Cousins about 5 years ago.
Oh, that fucking guy.
Didn't know what he was. He would make a run with Minnesota in the playoffs where he would get to the championship game and all of a sudden look like he knew what he was doing. And the first 4 games of the next season, he looked like a bum.
He's very much along the lines of a Kirk Cousins.
And that's why I say,
other than
I think he's more talented than Cousins is. Cousins might have the arm on him. That's about it.
I think Baker's more talented, but I also think that Baker has a little more of that "fuck you, I'm gonna win" type of bullshit, type of attitude. He's got more of an attitude, but no, he's very much Kirk Cousins-esque. Like he's very much 50-50. It's make some great throws and then make a bonehead play. Make some great throws, make a bonehead interception.
You could absolutely Joe Flacco yourself into a Super Bowl.
Yes.
But
it's very much that
have
level.
to have things around him to help. And a move like Amari Cooper, I thought was a move to do that.
That dude's agent should be in the Hall of Fame
for real
immediately.
Cousins?
For how much money that dude has stolen from the Vikings and Commanders. What a stupid fucking name that is.
Deshaun Watson.
That's so bad. They should have left it as the Washington football team.
They should have.
I would have been fine with it.
They definitely should have stayed that. But, all right, so what's some other moves that I mean, there's a lot of other moves. The Tyreek Hill trade.
That
was a great move.
I don't think they didn't have a choice. They had to trade him.
Yeah.
They had to trade him. I love Miami going out there.
Oh, Miami's going to be good.
Give me here. We want him. Don't bother anybody else. We want him.
Same type of situation as we were just talking about. Miami. Tua, not going to say he's a 50-50 talent.
And their offensive line sucks.
But he's sitting right there. But you're making moves to give him what he needs to see if he can do it.
They've upgraded. I looked at so after we talked, I didn't see. So we talked, and I said I don't know if they've made any offensive line moves.
Right.
They've made a couple of them.
Yeah.
And I actually look at that. I look at that roster now. That offensive line will be improved. Mm-hmm. They've done everything they can to upgrade that offense. They're going to be a sneaky fucking team this year.
They're going to be good. I don't necessarily think they're going to be bad or anything.
I like their offensive line more than I did but when we talked because I hadn't seen any of the moves that were made. They made a couple of moves on that offensive line. I look at it and I go, all right, they're all in right now. Mm-hmm. Like they're literally all in. And they're basically saying, in a roundabout way, you're basically getting it to the point of, all right, for Tua, this is put up or shut up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like this is.
I just think it's a terrible move at this time because they're still, even at best, the third best team in that division.
I think the moves I've looked.
I think they're better than the Patriots.
I agree.
So?
I agree.
I think they're better than the Patriots.
I agree. And I actually look at the moves they've made. If that defense rises back up this year like they did the year prior, and the offense can put it all together with everything they've done with the signings, the offensive line signings, Tyreek Hill.
It's a big if.
It is a big if. they could challenge in that division.
They can.
They,
Absolutely,
they can. I like it a lot more now that I've dived. I've dived into it. I dove into it. I dived into it.
Good,
Now that I dove into
just
it.
make up words. I dived in.
I used hiatus earlier in the right way. Now that I've dove in,
There you go.
and I've checked out the actual roster moves that they've made because I really legit didn't know when we talked about it.
Right.
I like it more now than I did then because at that point in time we were talking about, I said, yeah, none of this makes any difference if their offensive line is as bad as it was last year because I think it was dead last year. I went over some stats that I don't even know were true, but it was stuff that came off the top of my head about what happened last year.
Yeah.
I don't think they had anybody in Pro Football Focus rated over like a 65, and I think there was only one guy, and the rest of them were all in the 50s. Like they had a bad offensive line last year.
Yeah.
It was horrible. They've made a couple of moves on that offensive line that I like. All right, let's see how the preseason progresses and how our OTAs progress. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if they can go without some injuries, and let's see if they can start putting it together. But the moves they made, the moves they've made can pan out to be great moves. On paper is what they look like. But we'll see. We'll see if they can put them together.
You bring in a new coach, and that's where I start going, okay, is this going to be the same team as they were before?
Right.
Because everything we're saying right now is banking on them being the same team they were before.
I think that's the biggest question mark on that team, truthfully, is the coaching staff.
You know, it's not a question mark.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank. If you're in the market for a new home or looking to renovate your existing one, give my guy Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank a call today at 248-752-3631. Jason is a specialist in the first-time and new construction home buyers, as well as renovation lending. Flagstar also offers many down payment assistance programs, including $5,000 in Flagstar gift money. Again, give my guy Jason Stiltner from Flagstar Bank a call today at 248-752-3631 and get the excellent service you deserve. Flagstar Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 27546.
Nice.
New studio, new reads.
I know, right?
Very
it's
nice.
all happening.
Look at this.
It's all happening. We're making it, guys. Like another move. Like speaking of Tyreek Hill, but let's go to the other side of that. The Chiefs. Like, is this the start of their descent a little bit?
I think they're looking at it as a reload.
Okay.
I don't think they're looking at it as a retool. I think it's just reloading.
I mean, they brought in a retool and fucking Juju, so that's cool.
Well,
no, that's just the tool.
That's just a tool. That's not a retool. Although, yeah, I like the way you're going with that one. No, it's hard to say. So you can't have that many big names and pay them all.
No,
right?
you right.
So you knew at one point they were going to lose somebody.
Right.
So with the Mahomes deal, you pay him $500 million, right? And then you say, at some point you're going to lose somebody. It came down to the point where it was going to be either Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill, and Kelce's contract really isn't up. Tyreek Hill's was going to be up. He was going to be due for a big contract. It kind of just fell where it fell.
And Kelsey's been there for a while. Like that's move on from a guy like Kelce. Like that's a legacy type player.
Tyreek Hill is great in a lot of aspects, but again, his major asset is speed, which you can get somebody else to display speed and catch a football. You can mimic some of those.
Wait a minute, you can get one that is fast and can catch footballs.
Yeah, the Raiders haven't figured that out.
I was going to say
Raiders haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, right. We need to have a conversation after this because I need to put you in touch with some people.
Yeah, the Raiders haven't figured that out yet. But yes, it's possible. With that being said, there's parts of Tyreek Hill's game that can be mimicked by other people. You can do screen passes. You can do wide rollouts. You can do screens across the middle. You can have a lot of different aspects of getting a receiver open who's fast and get them the football in open space. You can mimic that. You can't mimic what Travis Kelce does by having somebody else do that.
Right.
Tyreek Hill's biggest asset is speed, period.
Yep.
It's not like he was going up with contested catches in the end zone. You weren't throwing him fade routes, 10-yard fade routes, and having him go up for the football in the red zone.
He can't do that because he's too small.
Exactly. He was speed in space. That's what he was. And you can mimic aspects of that by other players. You can't mimic what Travis Kelce does.
It's not hard to chuck up the deuce and just run past another dude.
Right.
Unless you're me, there's zero.
Which
shot
apparently
of
that's
that
not.
happening.
Apparently that's not taunting.
It's not.
I guess.
It's not
No.
taunting.
No, but spiking the ball on the sideline is.
Fucking NFL fucking joke. I mean, stay in the AFC West. Go to your Raiders, Frank, with them getting Devontae Adams. I mean, what does that do for that division? Is going to be an absolute monster this year. Holy shit, that division is going to be a monster.
And that's why, as much as I love the move, I question why they bothered making it. Derek Carr is what he is. I'm not going to sit here and shit on the guy. At this point, he's proven he is what he is.
Right.
He can get you through. He can win you some games. Not going to be a legendary quarterback by any means. Yes, you're finally giving him a receiver in his prime who is of the best in the league. But you've also got Russ Wilson now, and you've got, everything else that division is.
Yeah,
done.
you got Mahomes, you got Wilson, and you got what's his nuts, Herbert.
Yeah.
You
That division's so good, we forgot about Justin Herbert.
It's such a good division with quarterbacks.
It really is.
Like, you look at that, is not fair.
Like every Sunday night game and every Monday night game is going to be AFC West, AFC West, AFC West, AFC West.
And I'll watch it.
I'll watch every one of them.
I'll love every minute
Absolutely,
of it.
I will. Even with Buck and Aikman on Monday Night Football now?
Hey, listen,
I don't hate it. Dude, I'm sorry. Like, the thing with Joe Buck now, it's so tired and so plain. Just get over it, man.
Yeah.
The dude is good at what he does. Let it go, man. Let it go.
It's funny. I don't mind him calling football. I'm used to it at this point.
Right.
I do where I don't like him is calling baseball.
I'm with you, because he tries to be too much like his dad when he does baseball.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're
And
not your
baseball
dad.
moves too slow.
It does.
See, I thought I was in the minority here, but you guys actually both agree with me.
No,
Like,
no.
I'll watch every game Buck's calling for baseball. I don't mind Joe Buck whatsoever.
Yeah. Like, I don't mind it, but I understand what you're saying about
Yes.
baseball. He tries to be too much like his dad.
Right. Like, my dislike of him is calling baseball. I don't, football wise, I'm like, all right, he's calling Joe Buck's calling. I don't. It's indifferent to me, really, honestly.
Right.
I just love football. I'll listen
with Aikman.
I'll listen to Elmo call a fucking game. I really don't care. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, it doesn't matter to me. It's football.
Right.
And he doesn't bother me there. Where he does tend to, like, I'll listen to baseball games with him doing them, and it does every once in a while I'll just go, God, come on, man!
give me something.
It does grate me a little bit when I watch baseball. He calls it, because he just is kind of like, and there's a home run.
But
What?
So you got that. You got that booth now, which is cool. I dig it. And then you got the Sunday night booth with Tirico and Collinsworth.
Yes.
Now, and I'm cool with that booth. Tirico is awesome.
Collinsworth gets hated on too much.
does.
I don't understand where the hate
Don't
comes
get me
from.
wrong. He does say some really stupid shit from time to time.
It's no worse than
I agree.
fucking
Yes.
Tony Romo, and he's fucking awful.
That dude needs to go.
That dude capitalized on one incredible year and literally made himself a legend off of 1 year.
And then
And will never have to do another thing. He can be as bad as he wants.
Oh,
to be
and
the
it's
rest
funny.
of his life.
You can tell during the broadcast, Nance is just like, I fucking hate this guy.
it's,
You can tell he's like, I fucking hate this guy.
half the time you could hear the awkward silence in the booth because Romo says something and it's just
And Nance just wants to go like Will Smith and smack the shit out of him.
what?
I had to get that in. I had to get that
I was
in.
going to say, we haven't had a show since.
Yeah.
I had to get that in.
We'll allow the one.
Yes.
But no, with
I figured we would eventually get to talking about that, but
Yes.
I didn't think he'd be the one to bring it up, though. I thought for sure I'd have to bring it up.
I knew it would get brought up at some point. Just it was a little earlier than I expected. But
yeah, with Buck in baseball, I can see the issue being the fact that it's too slow, the fact he tries to be his dad. Like, baseball games don't move quickly. You don't need any more of a reason to put you to sleep. Like, I love watching them, but they're boring. You put a voice like that on there? Exactly. And I wish that wasn't the case, but I'm probably one of the few people who can tolerate listening to him call a baseball game.
Shut up. I hate you.
It's fine. I feel the same.
that was for Joe Buck, not you.
Oh. I thought Lady Friend hated me.
Pussy.
Jesus.
I just had to throw that one in for the fuck of it.
That's fucking funny. And from what I hear for like the Thursday night package, they're gonna get Al Michaels is gonna do it now.
That's what I've heard.
And I'm cool with that. That dude's, I don't care. That dude's old as fuck, but he's still at the top of his game.
Listen, Al Michaels calling that game will make it more interesting for me because the Thursday games are never really that interesting. And that's from me, who fucking loves NFL football.
A lot of Thursday games. And what people will do is like a Thursday game will come down. The game's been shit like the entirety of it. And then it'll get close in like mid fourth quarter. It's like, oh, all you people say that the Thursday night games are shit. They are shit. Stop it.
They are.
They're shit.
Yeah, and I love the NFL.
I watched any of them.
I love NFL football more than most people. It's admitted fact. Like everyone knows, I love the NFL way too fucking much. I just love NFL football.
Yeah.
And even I say the games are bad.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're not good.
Literally.
Oh yeah, he's doing it with Herb Street.
Yes.
Oh,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm even more interested.
Oh.
I like Herbie calling NFL games.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how it is on a full-time basis. Like
What I've heard so far, I like.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like he's not been bad. Give me a full year of him. I'll make a call at the end of it, but I'm down for it.
I mean, to me, it's like if you're calling college football or you're calling the NFL, I don't really see that much of a difference, especially if you put the work in, which I know he does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that booth would be great, to be honest with you. I think all three booths are going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
which is cool because like obviously you had the Sunday night booth, which was that was the gold standard. It just was. Yep. And then the Monday night booth. I don't know how for so long they got it wrong. It's amazing that they got it wrong for so long, and then they finally fixed it and got it right.
Mm-hmm.
And then
does it really surprise you? It's ESPN. That's how they can get it wrong for so long. It's because they're ESPN. You know how much they get wrong?
Yeah, they do get a lot of
Fuck,
shit.
it's lots.
Literally, why the other day when you texted about the Wings Ave documentary, I was like, can we just use one that we already got?
That's one thing they do right though.
But
is the 30 for 30.
Exactly.
Right.
That's like one of the only things they do.
But it's because they don't actually do the 30 for 30.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's why I said, like, okay, if ESPN's got anything to do with this, can we just take one that's been done?
Oh, God, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be sweet.
Yeah,
It's finally time.
Word is that they've started conducting interviews with all the players and people and everything.
Yep.
So yeah,
I can't wait for that. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be even better if Darren McCarty tries to fight Pat McAfee again.
And basically not giving.
You see that?
No.
Wait, what happened?
Something about who's the other podcast group? The new station that Detroit's got. I don't remember what they're called. The new sports station.
Oh,
D-Mac's on it. A couple other guys are on it.
I forgot the name of it too, but I know what you're talking about.
D-Mac was doing whatever show he's on and started talking shit to Pat McAfee about the whole wrestling thing and was trying to set up some sort of fight with Pat McAfee.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm going to hit this fucking thing right off the table at some point.
You're not doing good with that.
It was over on this side the last time, wasn't? No, this side was your side.
Yeah.
So
You can use that one.
Well,
if it helps.
Frank,
I'm just gonna put my hands behind my back.
Frank, if you try to talk without your hands,
I'm Italian, dude. I'm gonna be a mute.
You're gonna not say anything because you're Italian. You can't not talk.
If you notice, I've got my hands back and my shoulders are still going like crazy. Like, but yeah, D-Mac was trying to set up some sort of fight with with Pat McAfee.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, if they're interviewing him, I wonder who else he's gonna try to fight.
Yeah. Well, without giving away a source, ESPN called.
Yeah, don't you dare give it out over this because you wouldn't even give it to us.
ESPN called and asked for the interview for the documentary for ESPN that they're doing on the Avs Wings.
Called who?
Somebody.
Whatever.
Somebody that was very involved in the team in those years.
With the Red Wings?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
It was probably Al. That's why he got fired.
Yeah. What? Yeah. I really don't even know what happened with that one, but
I blame that on Dennis Bernard.
I agree with you.
As soon as I saw that, I texted. I was like, "Dude, you get out fired, bro? Do you really want to drive this amp that bad?"
Were you Dennis? Were you lobbying for his job and they gave it to you? You were, weren't you, man?
Oh man.
If that's the case, can I get down to the old job?
What? You want his old section at LCA?
Hell yeah!
I mean, listen.
If he gets bumped up to Zamboni driver, they need somebody.
Hey, Dennis, if you're gonna be the Zamboni driver, put in a good word for Frank. Yep. He's looking to leave his job.
Jesus. Oh my God.
Boom. Look at SOT solving problems left and right.
Bing bong. Guys.
Bing bong is right. You know what else we can bing bong for?
What's that?
Whether you're buying or selling your home, now is the time to take advantage of having the expertise of 3 real estate agents for the price. Four. We changed it. 4 real estate. I got the old one in my head.
And I've only got 3 up on the screen, so we need a new logo.
Well, there's
We
a
got to
4.
get a picture of him.
Yeah.
Whether you're buying or selling your home, now is the time to take advantage of having the expertise of 4 real estate agents for the price of 1 on your side.
Bing
Make
bong.
the right move with the right group. Call the Joe Wright Group. Give Craig Joe Wright, Mike Bush, Shane Wilson, and Alex DeRocher a call today. Phone number is 248-535-4750 to fulfill all your real estate needs.
There you go.
Yes.
Ooh, I sound drunk.
Ooh, I always do, though.
That was great.
I didn't sound drunk until we went on and on and on about the 4 thing.
Yeah, lady friend, we're going to need a picture of Alex, by the way, to put up for that read.
Or just a new logo with all 4 of them on there as opposed to
That could work too, yes.
Just print out a picture of Alex. When we come back from the image, one of us will just hold it up.
Frank will just be holding it.
This is the 4th guy.
Jesus. So I want to get back into the NFL talk because
let's do it.
because
Let's
just
do it.
so much shit has gone down.
There's so much to talk about.
For real.
It really is,
When we
man.
go away for almost 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of shit goes down.
And I've got all the moves pulled up over here. If you want to kind of make a team rundown and just kind of do a little judgment.
Let it rip, man.
You want to do it? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's start off with the Cardinals. This doesn't hijack where you were going with this, right? You just kinda wanna talk about
no, it
that?
actually helps because there was so many moves. It's hard
It
to keep track of.
organizes it.
Okay.
It does because it was hard to keep track of like all the ones that
Right.
happened.
So let's start with the Cardinals, and basically everything they did was re-sign a lot of guys. So they haven't done much as far as actually signing or trading, but they re-signed Zach Ertz, they re-signed James Conner, re-signed Colt McCoy, Max Williams.
So they're still going to be ass.
They're basically they haven't done they made any big moves, and that one surprises me for a team that should have been competitive. They re-up their GM, they re-up their coach.
What'd they do at linebacker? Or are they going to target that in the draft?
So
Because
they
you've got to replace Chandler.
They re-signed Ezekiel Turner, and they re-signed their edge rusher Dennis Gardeck. Other than that, they didn't really do anything linebacker-wise. So maybe they're looking to the draft.
Maybe target draft-wise.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't done much. That's one of the biggest disappointments for me this offseason is them. They haven't done anything other than re-sign guys. And to me, you've re-signed your guys to bigger contracts than they needed to.
And
James Conner,
that you
3
were
years,
a couple pieces. You were
Right.
a couple pieces away from having a decent team.
No, James Conner didn't have a horrible year last year. But when you look at the top 10, 15 running backs in the league, which he's getting paid like now.
Right. And
James Conner-
touchdown-wise, he was there.
Yes, but other than that, I mean, he was
Right.
just pedestrian. You look at it, and James Conner's got 3 years, $21 million. You overpaid for a guy to re-sign him. And then you let Chase Edmonds go. I don't like their offseason. I really don't.
You sign James Conner, and you let this is talking last offseason, not
Right.
this current one, and you let a more talented back in Kenyon Drake walk away.
Yeah.
Like, I understand.
Well,
it,
you signed
but-
Chase Edmonds to be that more talented
Right.
back, and then you let him go. So I don't know. I don't get
Yeah.
it.
So they're going to be ass again.
Yeah, pretty much.
They have a quote unquote disgruntled quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah, has anything gotten figured out there?
I haven't heard anything on that front.
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything. Next up, Atlanta Falcons. So
ass. Don't care.
They had one player and they lost him.
well, here's the biggest thing. They signed Tease Tabor to a 1-year contract.
How? How is that dude still? How is that dude not in the USFL or like XFL or whatever?
Because it's the Atlanta Falcons.
Jesus.
They signed Tease Tabor.
Side note: the USFL is starting shortly.
Yes.
Are you gonna watch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They got a TV contract locally?
Yeah. It's gonna be on.
You looked at me like I genuinely have no idea anything about the USFL.
I think it's gonna be on NBC and Fox.
Okay.
Chris gave you the dead eyes look for a second.
Serious?
It was just a second.
It's funny you mentioned that because we were talking about the new read, and I told him, like, if I fuck up on the read, you're the only person gonna give me the stupid look anyway. So, so it's just fitting that I've gotten it literally the last 2 things we've done.
So, and actually, the biggest signing that Atlanta did have was Marcus Mariota. They
Yes.
signed him to a 2-year, $18 million, almost $19 million.
And I like that move. I'm not saying that he's going to be a starting quarterback again in this league, but if you're going to roll the dice on somebody, that's a great one to do it on.
They did re-sign Cordero Patterson to 2 years, giving him $10.5 million. I mean, he earned it.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that guy finally find a place where he can do what the hell he does.
If they let him keep doing it, it'll be all right. But Baltimore has not done a lot.
I was going to say, have they done anything?
But that's a team that generally builds through the draft.
They do. They don't do a lot through free agency.
No.
They really haven't done anything of big name note, truthfully.
They still have a quarterback who can't throw the ball accurately.
They did sign Marcus Williams to a 5-year, $70 million contract, though.
Okay.
That's wow.
How much of it was guaranteed?
It doesn't say here.
Okay. Because that's the number you really kind of need to look at.
Yeah,
that's true.
But still, a 5-year, $70 million is still fucking big. Your Buffalo Bills.
Talked about it earlier, Von
Miller.
Love that.
Is a big one there. They signed O.J. Howard. I like that move.
I like that too because it just gives him another weapon. Him and Dawson Knox.
You got a 2 tight end set now, and you've got 2 nice younger tight ends.
They traded for Case Keenum as a backup quarterback
I'm
because
cool with
they
that.
lost Mitch.
No, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
He's a backup quarterback, and as far as a backup quarterback goes, you can do worse.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Case Keenum's a decent backup quarterback. And they had to fill the spot of Mitch, who went to Pittsburgh. We'll get to that later. They signed Duke Johnson.
I dig it. I think it's a solid signing.
It is. It's a solid depth signing for running back.
I love what they've done in the offseason. I'm very curious to see what they do in the draft.
So the move I like the most out of all this, and it's a weird move, but they let Cole Beasley go.
Yep.
Smart.
And they signed Jamison Crowder.
Okay.
I know a lot of people that
just got younger.
Jamison Crowder to me is one of the most underrated receivers
I was fine
on
with
the
that.
planet.
Same skill set, in my opinion.
And you sent him to a 1-year prove it $4 million deal. Prove he can stay healthy and do what you do on the football field. I love that move for them.
No, I do too. And it was with Beasley. It was just with all the COVID shit and all that.
Yep.
I think it was just time. Just go your separate ways. It's what
And
it
Cole
is.
Beasley's a good receiver.
He is, but he's kind of getting up there a little bit. And if you can basically get either the same receiver or even a slightly better receiver and younger, do it.
Has Beasley signed anywhere?
Not
that I know of. No.
I was going to say I could
He
see
was working out with Baker Mayfield last week.
There you go.
I was going to say I could see him being one of those guys that ends up in Tampa with Brady.
It's very possible. Very possible. The Carolina Panthers. Let's see. Big moves of note. I mean, there really isn't any big moves that I can see. They re-signed P.J. Walker as a backup quarterback.
Next. Not sexy. Next.
No. I mean, they overpaid their tight end, Ian Thomas. Let's see. They got better offensive line. They signed Austin Corbett to a 3-year, almost $30 million contract. It's a better offensive line signing, but nobody really cares about that.
The only offensive lines anybody usually cares about are the teams they actually like.
Right. They extended, but you know me. I'm just geeky. They did extend DJ Moore, which is a good signing for them. They extended him 3 years, $61 million, almost $62 million.
Jesus.
All right, the Bears.
Bears, your favorite team, Frank.
The Bears.
They still have Justin Fields.
They do. They do.
It means they still suck.
They signed Equanimous St. Brown, which is
Amon-Ra's
brother.
That might be one of the best
brother.
names in football. That's a great name.
Equanimous St. Brown.
I dig it.
They signed Byron Pringle. So basically, they signed some backup wide receivers like this.
And
that'll help Justin Fields.
And they lost Allen Robinson, right?
They lost Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
And they've signed a couple of backup receivers.
That's good.
But they don't have Matt Nagy anymore.
So that was the biggest move they could make.
There you go.
So they took themselves from 5-12
They're
teams.
still going to beat your Lions fucking twice.
Oh, wow. Woo! The shit talking has already started. I love it.
I can't fucking argue it. That's the team he's about to go to in a second. They haven't done anything. They re-signed all their same fucking guys.
I think we have another drop. That's another drop. I love it.
Except DJ Chark. They signed one guy. He was from Jacksonville.
At the 7:55 mark, I have another drop that I need to pull for Frank.
Sweet.
So yeah, I mean the Bears didn't really do much at all here. Truthfully, and I guess with their backup receivers and Darnell Mooney, like that's what they're gonna do. And Darnell Mooney's a good receiver, but he can't be the only guy that you have Justin Fields throw the ball to.
It's not even trying to shit on the Lions, but how do you make those few moves, being a terrible team, and still don't manage to become the worst team in the division?
Because they're in the division with the Lions. But if you ask a Lions fan, they've had a great offseason.
They had a great offseason with retaining people.
We will get to that shortly.
Let's see, Cincinnati, working our way alphabetically here. Cincinnati, they franchise tagged Jesse Bates, which was a good year, 1 year, almost $13 million deal. They needed to kind of keep him. They signed a couple of offensive linemen to decent contracts. So Alex Kappa and Ted Karras,
needed,
which is what we said that team needed
last year.
So they made those moves. I like those moves. They signed Hayden Hurst, which will be just another possible weapon for Burrow. It's just a nice backup piece at tight end there.
What they signed him for?
No other big moves. It says TBD to be determined. They haven't put it on here yet. It's a 1 year deal.
So just a little handshake agreement. He's coming in playing for free.
It's probably a prove it deal. It's probably not worth a whole lot. It's just a prove it deal because he's been kind of injury prone in his career so far. Then you get to my Browns. They franchise tagged Njoku. Okay, they're trying to work out a long-term deal with him.
Right,
I'm not
necessarily
the biggest fan of him, but I mean, he shows flashes being brilliant. So I mean, hopefully he can put it all together.
I was gonna say I would not have franchised him,
right?
But I don't blame you for trying to keep him.
Yeah, they don't have much other than him at that position. There wasn't much other to go get either. They traded for Amari Cooper. They released Jarvis Landry.
What else did they do, Joe?
They got Chase Winovich. Chase Winovich is big. I like that on the edge rush.
He was most recently in New England, right?
Yeah.
What else did they do, Joe?
They signed Jacoby Brissett for the backup quarterback role. They released Austin Hooper, and they re-signed Anthony Walker. Oh, here's one I like. They did sign Jakeem Grant as for a third wide receiver. Gave him 3 years, almost $14 million.
I feel like you're missing two big moves that they made.
Are you talking about the one where they keep Baker Mayfield?
The other thing they did.
The one we've already discussed half the
Sorry, they were down farther on the list. It's my bad. I was overlooking those. They re-upped Baker Mayfield's contract and paying him $18 million to do nothing. And they went out and they traded for Deshaun Watson and gave him a new 5-year, $230 million contract that's fully guaranteed. Dallas Cowboys.
Just because I want to acknowledge it on the recording, he's guaranteed what, $1 million for the first year?
They gave him $1 million his first
year.
So
if he gets suspended, that's all he loses.
That's all he loses.
Awesome.
His agent called him up and was like, listen, I couldn't get you the full Kirk Cousins deal, but I did okay.
Yeah, he did all right.
Yeah, that's why Deshaun Watson originally was like, Cleveland Browns, you're out. And then Cleveland Browns came to him and said, we're going to guarantee you $230 million and only give you $1 million for the year you're going to get suspended. Deshaun Watson went, Cleveland Browns, you're back in. That's exactly why.
And, no, never mind. I'm not going to make the joke on here. I already made it in the text.
I don't know what you're talking about, but you can make any joke on here you want to.
Well, we don't. Well. You can't give Frank that kind of leeway, dude. Come on now.
Did either one of you watch the Hall of Fame?
You're right. He's the last person.
You cannot give Frank that kind of leeway.
I was gonna say Scott Steiner got inducted to the Hall of Fame on Friday, and Susie grabs the mic. He goes, "Man, I don't know about giving me a hot mic right now."
That's a bold strategy.
Yeah,
to give Frank leeway in this.
That's why I said.
You know what? We're gonna gloss past that one, Frank. We're gonna
skip that one.
We're gonna skip that. We're gonna let that go. You can tell us the joke after the show.
Okay.
And then we'll put it on Facebook.
Great. Just when I need more things to argue about on fucking Facebook.
Right. Just don't look at the Sports on Tap page. You won't even know about it. Let's see. Franchise tag Dalton Schultz for $10 million. They re-signed Michael Gallup. This is Dallas Cowboys, by the way.
Okay. Yep.
So they obviously traded
keeping Gallup
Cooper away.
A good move.
Listen, they kept him 5 years, $62.5 million. They got rid of Cooper's $20. They kind of had to do that like two-step because of how much money they've given Zeke.
Right.
And at this point, Zeke's contract is...
I think it's
is-
an albatross right now.
Oh, my God, it's fucking awful.
This is why you don't pay running backs huge amounts of money anymore.
And also, the Dallas Cowboys are a big example of why you don't give the quarterback the fucking bank, Cleveland, because you won't be able to put any weapons around him. Because now that you've given Dak the bank and you've given Zeke the bank, you're having to trade Amari Cooper for a fucking 5th-round draft pick and re-sign Michael Gallup, who's been injured the last 2 years.
And you gave Zeke the bank, and you ran fucking Pollard all last year anyways.
Because Zeke is washed. Dude.
Right.
Zeke is
like
washed.
That is exactly why if you sign a running back, you don't sign them long-term or past the age of like 28, 29.
Well, and so the other thing they did, they re-signed Leighton Vander Esch.
Good move.
I like that move. It's a 1-year, $3 million deal, right?
And you let Smith walk.
The dude's injury prone, so I get
That's
it.
It's a 1 year.
Yeah.
It's a 1 year
I get
stay
it
healthy.
year.
Yeah, it's a 1 year stay healthy deal.
Nope.
They already got rid of
Jalen Smith
last year. Yeah. They signed James Washington to a 1 year deal. It doesn't say how much money, but I don't dislike that signing.
And
it's a
you
backup
also
wide
have-
receiver. You needed another wide receiver. It's a decent signing.
Decent position for a draft pick, and you've got the defensive player of the year returning. So.
Yeah. Nothing else of note there, guys, honestly. They did re-sign DeMarcus Lawrence, which is a good signing. 3 years, $40 million.
Another nice veteran move.
Yep.
But with the Gallup thing, I know you and I were talking about it at one point. Gallup was a guy that I was hoping Detroit would make a run at. I know you were talking about him.
Didn't mean to do that.
George lowered his chair and just totally dropped out of where I was looking.
Didn't mean to do that.
But by trading Cooper, you got rid of the age, you kept the youth. I think that was a really smart move.
Yeah, I agree with that. So now we make our way to the Broncos, who have had one of the biggest off
Didn't
seasons.
they get like a new quarterback or something?
They've had one of the biggest off seasons. They've made a couple of decent moves.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest moves they made was they signed Randy Gregory, the edge rusher from Dallas. They gave him a 5-year, $70 million contract.
After he told Dallas he was coming back.
Yep. And they've signed a couple of linebackers here, Jewell and Singleton. Yeah. And then they
short quarterback.
They made a trade for.
They decided the Drew Lock era was over.
Yeah, they decided that they were done with that.
They went and rolled the dice on that guy who's just like Drew Brees. You think this is going to happen twice? He's going to be somebody?
Yeah, they traded for Russell Wilson, which is one of the moves that makes that division the most exciting quarterback division there is at this point. Like that division right there is stacked with quarterbacks.
You've got Herbert, you've got Wilson, you've got
Mahomes,
and that's it.
Carr.
Yeah, I got a car too. It's outside.
Yeah, I don't want to get into cars right now. I'm having to borrow a friend's car right now.
Listen, that car is still probably better than Derek Carr.
You might bash Derek Carr a little too much, but listen, he's no Russell Wilson or Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes.
In that division, he might as well be Joey Harrington.
Let's see. So I like the moves they've made. Honestly, I think the Broncos have made a real charge to try to win that division. And that division is going to be a hard one to win. Yeah. You have to make the moves they've made in order to try and win that division. And to their credit, they're all in. Like, they're going for it. That's what they're doing.
The team that needs to be patient in that division, though, is San Diego or LA. Where their youth is at right now, it's going to be very easy in the short term to start going, okay, we need to do something crazy. We need to do something crazy to try to get them to compete with that.
Right.
But if you just let the natural progression take place with those kids, by the time the top two teams here are kind of ready to rebuild, I think LA will be right in line, ready to take as a powerhouse, essentially.
Yeah. Yep. I'm really that's one of the divisions I'm really interested to see how that division plays out this year because
it should be good.
No, I mean even Las Vegas is in a spot where they can
watching it.
They can do some good things this year.
Until midway through the season, he says, "Fuck this," and I'm not going to watch anymore.
I mean, in all fairness, depending on what the job situation is, I might not have to worry about it. So
It's a fair point.
Next up is the Detroit Lions.
DJ Chark.
Moving on, the Green Bay Packers. No, they re-signed Alex Anzalone.
Yeah, so they got the draft for next year, the year after. I don't remember which one it was.
Which that's cool. I think that's actually pretty cool that they do have the draft coming.
I do too. I do too.
Years.
Really, the only notable things I think that happened in their offseason was
Well,
the draft.
they're going to be on Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Hard
too.
Knocks.
Yeah, that too.
And every Lions fan can now jerk off while watching Hard Knocks
good Lord.
to all the things that MCDC is gonna put out there. Mr. Campbell Soupy himself is gonna put out there, and the whole fan base is gonna slobber it up. Oh, he's so passionate. Oh, he makes me want to run through a wall.
That's gonna be gross.
Oh, come on, man. You don't got to use my exact words. If you're going to make fun of me, use something else.
That's gonna be so gross to watch. Oh my god.
I'm just trying to think of some sort of drink.
I didn't realize those were your exact words, but those were the exact words of like other Lions fans I heard. It just so happened to be also your exact words.
No, my exact words were after his press conference. I was like, yeah, that speech made me want to run through a wall. Not much else, but just run through the wall.
Well, believe me, you're not the only Lions fan that said that. Most of them have been like, I would run through a wall for that guy.
No.
I would do any. I would play my heart out for that guy.
Dude, Lions Twitter is gonna be such a slurp fest.
Oh my
during
God.
But that's why I'm saying
Oh,
we got to think of some
good
sort of
Lord.
drinking game.
It's gonna
like
be
that.
it's gonna be such a slop fest. They did sign DJ Chark. I do like that move.
It's a prove it deal.
I'm a person who
Yeah.
I think Chris and I approve. We'll bash the Lions any chance we get, but we'll also give them credit where credit's due. I like that move.
It's a solid move. No, I
Listen,
agree with you.
it's a 1 year, $10 million deal. It doesn't hurt your salary cap this year. It's a $10 million deal. If he doesn't play well, then it's a 1 year deal, and it does it hurts you none.
And you don't have to take a wide receiver in the first round now.
Right.
You can wait till the second or third.
But it would be so Detroit Lions to do that.
Oh, yeah. Take one at number 2.
Yeah, basically-
Just do the most Lions you can.
Basically, all their stuff. Basically, I thought I was hearing something in the headphones. Basically, every move they made was a re-signing, other than like DJ Chark.
Yeah.
They did sign Garrett Griffin, but that's like a
The fuck is that?
what is? Where is that coming from?
Oh, it's coming from my computer apparently. Yeah,
Chris got an ad popping up.
I did.
Oh.
That's literally what
Oh,
happened.
I was like, what the hell's going on?
No, literally an ad popped up.
Oh, Steve. Steve just signed on.
Steve from Bald Man Entertainment and from Time Out with Steven
What's
Scott.
up, Steve?
A little weird. He called us baby boys, but
I think he meant Welcome Back, Boys, but it came out Baby. Well, thanks, Steve. Weird that you called me baby, but we'll gloss past that. Love you too, brother. Just not like that. Give them a listen. We actually don't have a taste this segment this week because we have so many things to talk about. We weren't gonna be able to fit it in, but our taste this segment is brought to you by Time Out with Steven Scott, also presented by Bald Man Entertainment, and we will be doing those coming up in our future shows.
Yeah.
But with the first show back after having so much time off, we won't be getting to that. But I do know that Time Out with Steven Scott, they do have a new episode up. Go check them out. They had a good show this last week, so give them a listen.
and I will tell you, Steve, I was at a store and I found those jelly beans, and I did send a picture to the boys, and I tried to get them to agree to do it,
And we said no.
and they would not do it.
We would not.
Nope.
Not happening.
Nope.
I'm just saying. I found them though.
So back to the taste. Hold on. Let me just do this real quick.
All right, motherfuckers, let's take a timeout and taste this.
So they actually use that drop for their own show. When
Do they really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So love it.
Need to get some royalties from it.
Yeah, no shit. That's sweet. I dig that.
But they also did a segment. They were doing Dorito Roulette, which I guess Doritos came out with a roulette bag.
Ooh, Steve said if you guys will do them, he'll come on the show and do them with you.
What, a Dorito roulette?
No, the jelly beans.
Steve, you can always come guest on the show with us.
Not
but
doing the jelly
we are
beans.
not doing the jelly beans.
Nope.
No to the jelly beans. Yes to you can come sit in, but no to the jelly beans.
Absolutely not.
But they did they were doing Doritos roulette this last week on the show, and apparently they're regular or spicy, and you never know which one you're gonna get because you can't tell the difference. They're just all seasoned the same. So
Right.
Steve says he'll do them solo. So how's this?
We'll bring a puke bucket for you too.
So you can come on the show, and all you can do the whole show is just sit there and eat really nasty jelly beans while we talk sports, and we try not to laugh too hard while you're over there choking and puking and spitting while we're trying to talk
sports.
sports.
Show ever and last.
It'd be hilarious.
It's going to be 2 hours of laughing and 5 minutes of sports talk.
Probably true. Yeah, it's a good thing it's the off season.
Right.
Next up, Green Bay. So they did one. They had one really. No, I think they had 2 big moves. What did they do? They re-signed Aaron Rodgers to a $200 million contract, and then instantly traded away his only weapon and
have signed absolutely nobody to help out.
and traded him to your team, Frank. But they extended Preston Smith, their edge rusher. They re-signed Devondre Campbell. So they re-upped some guys on defense, but they tendered Alan Lazard's contract. So I guess he's going to be the number 1 guy there now. I don't really know.
They didn't even re-sign Scantling.
Yeah, so they're like Scantling.
Scantling's gone too. He went to Kansas City.
Yeah.
So
and he was literally the number 2 option there.
I don't know. That offense is, they got to do something, man.
Steve's in.
Fucking sold. Mixture of taste and heat. All right, man. You're a glutton for punishment, brother.
Yeah. I was going to say, let's do it the May 10th show. He can sit right there and just eat all the shit, and we'll just laugh at
him. Let's see here. So next up is the Texans. We're going to gloss past that. There's nothing to talk about there.
Please.
They traded Deshaun. That's it.
Yeah, so the Colts, they traded away Carson Wentz.
Weird.
That's strange.
Weird. I didn't say that the situation was going to end horribly.
Dude, what
You got to get a pop-up blocker on there.
Dude.
Stop watching porn on your computer.
If that was the case. Okay.
Sports on tap.
Exactly.
Sports on tap. All right. So the Indianapolis Colts, they traded Carson Wentz. Then they traded for Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
They traded for Matt Ryan after Baker was like, no, I'll go to Indianapolis. And Indy was like, no, we'll take Matt Ryan.
And he was like, nah, we're good. And they're like, we'll take Matt Ryan and his. Well, I think Atlanta's actually paying a lot of his contract.
Yeah.
That's one reason why. But again, I think Indianapolis thinks they're ready to win right now. They thought Matt Ryan brought that. I don't know.
Somebody thinks that. I don't know if anybody else in Indianapolis is going to win now.
Indianapolis could win. They can make a run. I don't think Matt Ryan's the guy to do it.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. They could make a run.
They could.
I don't think they are a win-now team. They just could luck into a situation where they make a run.
They have enough pieces on that team.
Yeah.
I just don't
see Matt Ryan being the guy.
I don't either at all. But anyway, nothing else of note there, really, truthfully.
Spoiler, he couldn't make it work with Julio and Calvin Ridley. I think that means it's the end.
Next up is the Jaguars. You want to do this one? Do you have it memorized yet?
I don't have it memorized.
Do you have the moves memorized? No?
I go from 6 to midnight when I think about it, though.
Okay.
I'm going to go next on that one.
Chris is like, whatever to not make that happen.
Pussy.
That'll do it, too.
So there's really nothing of note here other than the Christian Kirk signing, which...
Oh, yeah,
This has to be one of the worst contracts I've ever seen in my life. Christian Kirk, I don't think he's had a 1,000-yard season. They sent him to a 3-year, $72 million contract.
This is going to be one that I have to see play out. I like Kirk. I just...
Not for that money.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going.
I like Christian Kirk, too, but for that kind of fucking money, you could have had Devontae Adams.
And wasn't it like 50-something guaranteed or some shit?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
somewhere
crazy
on there.
deal. But that's a team, and it's a team that Detroit's definitely on the list. There's a couple other teams, Atlanta, I feel like, is on that list, where you have to overpay guys to come there. That's the only way you're going to get talent. And that's the position I didn't see Cleveland in, and that's why I called that like same type of move, in my opinion, for the Deshaun thing.
Right.
You didn't need to make that move. Jacksonville absolutely had to make that move.
Well, and
maybe not with him.
They spent a lot of money this offseason. I just don't know that they spent it wisely.
They did not.
So
I know they built up on the they at least grabbed one O lineman who was a Pro Bowler.
Brandon Scherf.
Yep.
So then they franchise tag Cam Robinson, their tackle.
Yeah.
They signed Christian Kirk to that big contract. They signed Evan Ingram to a $9 million 1-year contract.
Don't love it, but 1 year.
They signed Zay Jones to a 3-year, $24 million contract. You know all about him from Vegas.
Yeah, Zay Jones, the exact guy we were talking about earlier. All the speed in the fucking world, can't catch a ball.
Yeah. And then cornerback Darius Williams, 3 years, $30 million. They got Foyesade Olokun, 3-year, $45 million contract, and I can't believe I actually pronounced that name correctly. And Fularunsu Futasaki, D lineman.
Is he speaking English anymore?
3 years, $30 million.
I kind of lost track.
So, I mean, they actually put a lot of money into the defense. They put a lot of money in
Joe, if you're saying offensive things and get canceled, you're on your own, buddy.
I'm not the one on the show that does that.
That's why I wanted to tell you, if you are, you're on your own. I've had enough chances on that.
If anybody on the show is going to say offensive things and get canceled, more than likely it's the guy wearing the Boston Bruins jersey right now. And you're going to do it without even knowing you did it. To your defense, you're going to do it and not even realize you did it. But anyway, so they've spent. We're just going to gloss over that. The Jaguars have spent a lot of money, but I don't know whether they spent it wisely or not.
Nope. I'm going to say no on that one.
I'm happy they spent money finally. I will agree that I don't know how great the signings were, but they at least made an attempt. And for a team that really hasn't done that in a while, that's where I'm happy about it.
See, and that's funny that you say that. That's where the majority of Browns fans who like the move are. They're just happy the ownership is making moves to try to win. That's exactly why they're happy with the move. They say, well, at least we're making moves to try and win. We're trying to get better.
Who was in the playoffs 2 years ago?
They forget that.
Jacksonville had an entirely different team the last time they were in the playoffs.
Browns fans have forgotten all about that.
Damn, short memory.
Very short. But they say the exact same thing. At least the team is making moves. At a certain point,
they're nothing like Lions fans. Those motherfuckers hang on to it for 30 years.
It's true.
I'm still hearing about 92 or 94, whatever it is.
So next up, Kansas City. They franchise tagged Orlando Brown. Yeah. Great move on the offensive line. They needed to do that. They signed Justin Reed to a $31 million 3-year deal. Juju Smith-Schuster, we talked about that earlier, right? It's kind of a
Yeah, it's hoping he can become what he was.
Yeah, I mean, it's knowing that you were losing Tyreek Hill and having to get another guy there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of just
fantasy booking here for a team that I don't even care for. But I'd have rather seen him waited and went and picked up DK Metcalf next year. I think that would have been a better move.
I mean, they possibly could trade for DK this year because he's on the market.
But he's talking he doesn't want to get moved.
Well, sometimes
the only guy I know who's on a bad team who doesn't want to get traded.
Sometimes you don't have that option. Sometimes the team's going to fucking trade you whether you like it or not. Because you're new in the league. You don't have a no trade clause, bro. That's the way it works.
If I was Detroit, I would take that last pick in the first round and be like, here, we'll give you a first round this year for him.
Here's a good one for any Browns fans that are listening to the show, or just a throwback to you guys who know football. They signed Corey Coleman, former first-round draft pick of the Cleveland Browns, who was out of the league last year.
Yeah. Oh, solid.
Speaking of USFL players.
Yeah, right. Shit, man.
Yeah. And for the local ties, they re-signed Chad Henne to a 1-year, $2 million deal.
It's nice to see he's still getting paid.
Good for him.
Yeah,
he's not getting the Matt Flynn deals.
Career backup. I mean, the guy's making a couple $1 million every fucking year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's had to have surpassed Chase Daniel by now, money-wise. He's had to. You know how much money Chase Daniels made?
Yeah.
And by doing nothing?
For throwing like 30 passes total in his entire career. And they did sign Frank Clark, 2 years, $29 million. A max of 36 with incentives, and then they did sign Marquez Valdez Scantling.
But did their defense get any better?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And that's one of their biggest. That is their biggest Achilles heel. Is their fucking defense.
They signed Justin Reed, which makes them a little better on the defensive side of the ball, but that's not going to improve them that much. No. There's no way.
And Honey Badger's still out there. He's not signed with anybody
Yeah.
yet, but it's not sounding like
which
he's
also
going
surprises
back there.
me.
Yeah.
Again, like if you look at it though, has his play eclipsed the attitude problems that he had when he was younger?
To me, it did.
He's very talented.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that it's still at that level to just overlook an attitude problem.
But you said earlier, to me, I think his attitude problems haven't been around. So
That's why I said the attitude problems from before.
Yeah, I so many times people aren't allowed to live down their mistakes, and that just bothers me. Like we've all made mistakes. We've all been allowed to live them down, right? I mean, we've all been allowed to.
Yeah, unless you
to move
accidentally
past
say
them, right?
something on the show. Other than that, I'm just talking about one thing that you guys like to joke about.
Okay.
So.
Oh, all right. Next up is your Raiders, right? Biggest move they made.
Davante.
Traded for Davante Adams. Gave him a $141 million contract for 5 years.
Yep.
Worth it?
Right now, yeah. If he's going to be the player he was in Green Bay, absolutely. He's worth every dollar of it.
Yeah. Chris?
I think it was worth it.
Yeah.
I think with how this division is setting up, they almost had to. I don't think they had a choice.
Yeah.
I think this is trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, I think everybody in this division is trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yep.
Right? That's we talked about earlier with Denver, going all in, getting Russell,
It was also
getting
like
better on defense.
the worst kept secret, though. It's been known ever since Derek Carr and Davante got into the league. They wanted to play together. They enjoyed playing together in college. They were
Right.
planning on playing together in the pros. Like, it was always going that route. It just,
Took a while.
yeah, it was just convenience
Yeah.
at this point.
And then the other big move was Chandler Jones, which you alluded to
I love
earlier.
that move.
3 years, $51 million.
Now
If
the
he
thing
can
with
still be him, I love that.
that's the thing with him. You know that contract year, he's a beast.
Yep.
And we'll see.
Right. Which Chandler Jones are you going to get?
Exactly.
And you're, if anybody's familiar with his brother John, you're putting a Jones in the city of Las Vegas, which pretty sure has a cell block named after them. On a team that I'm pretty sure has a cell block named after them.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I can't say anything against any of that.
That's why I said, I hope none of that matters.
They also acquired Rock Ya-Sin from Indianapolis via trade. I like that move. I think he helps their defense out a little bit. They released Corey Littleton. I'm trying to see any other big moves they made. I knew there was missing one. They extended Max Crosby. 4 years, 98, almost $99 million.
Dude's earned it.
And
time.
last year he did.
Big time.
His rookie year he did. If we're talking the years in between, I mean, obviously we now know what was going on with him, but
Right. And see,
I just hope that type of play doesn't become a habit. At the same time.
I love this for the reason I just said a few minutes ago. This guy was able to live down his mistakes. People should be allowed to live down their mistakes, and this guy has
Darren
done
Waller,
it.
same exact thing.
Right. This guy has done it. And I love this story. I love this guy. I love the whole thing behind this.
And-
I love the fact he was able to get himself on the right track, and now it's paying off for his life. I like that.
And if I would be, talking about the whole NFL, all the situations that we've talked about, if I'm going to hold something against somebody, it's going to be the guy who's living in Las Vegas with the problem. Like, that's the person I'm going to be the most concerned about. I'm not concerned about Crosby. But if I'm concerned about somebody,
Right.
that's the guy I'm most worried about going backwards.
Right. And yet he's completely turned his life around, and he's being able to benefit from that. And I love that. I love that whole
Everything
situation.
about him
Sorry.
right now, I could not be happier for him.
Yeah. It's a feel-good story in a league where you don't get a lot of them.
Yep.
I like that. In a world where you don't get a lot of them, actually, right? I mean, So the Chargers next. Re-signed Mike Williams, 3 years, $60 million.
Huge sign though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a contract. They kind of had to do it, right? It was a have to, and he was going to get that on the open market anyway, right? I mean,
I think if you give him the one more year to really work in there, I think he'll finally do what he should have done 2 years ago and eclipse Keenan Allen as their true number one receiver.
I think that's coming.
Yeah.
I think that breakout is coming.
I would like to have seen it a few years ago.
He has shown signs of it, but
Yeah.
then just can't put a full season together. You know, it's weird.
But it's injuries too.
Yep. And then so they did acquire Khalil Mack in a trade. They did sign J.C. Jackson, 5 years, $82 million. That's really the other big signing they had on that defense. And that defense needed help. They needed some help.
100%.
Especially with Russ Wilson coming into the division.
Just in that division alone,
Right.
it's going to be shootouts every fucking game.
You
They're
have
gonna need
6
some
games
defensive
this
players.
year that are going to be absolutely fucking brutal.
Yep. So the Rams, I don't know if anybody heard, they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest things that they've done this offseason.
heard that.
This is last season. They did extend Matthew Stafford, 3 years, $129 million. That dude's just made so much money in his career.
Yeah.
And finally earned it last year.
Finally.
But congratulations for him, man. He's
Hell yeah.
They traded Robert Woods to Tennessee, which you kind of saw coming with that injury from last year. They were going to move on from him. He's still a good receiver. I think Tennessee got another good receiver there. I think he's going to come back well for them. But
Is OBJ staying? You think they're going to re-up him?
no, I think he's going to end up moving on somewhere. But where, I don't know, because he's got that injury. He's coming off that injury.
And that's the thing, is I don't think anybody's going to jump on him until that injury's healed. But
Right. And then they did sign Allen Robinson, 3 years, $45 million.
I totally forgot they did that.
The other big things they did were basically re-signings of the offensive line, which were needed. They did lose their big name offensive lineman, and his name escapes me right now.
Whitworth.
Whitworth, yeah.
Yeah, he retired.
Yeah, he retired.
Which, by the way, I know he won Man of the Year this year, but has anybody watched any of his stuff from the offseason? No. Dude's the fucking greatest guy in the world.
Yeah. I've seen a few things about him, and he really is a nice,
just all around great guy. It seems like
the best thing I saw about him was just after the Super Bowl, sitting there with his kids,
chilling with his kids,
and him breaking the news that Daddy was going to be home more. And as a dad, I was like, man, that's so fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like,
and his daughter, who couldn't have cared less.
but there was like two of his kids were like, yeah, and his one daughter was like chasing the confetti.
Yeah. She's like, oh great, Dad's gonna be around.
She's like, great, just all that's what I need, more dad.
The one move they made though that I absolutely loved, and you haven't gotten to it yet, it's gonna be at the bottom of that list, is the Bobby Wagner signing.
Yeah.
Is that even on that list?
It's not on my list here.
Yeah. They just signed him. I think it was last week or the week
before.
before.
This must be a list from right before that. So they just signed him. That is a big move for that defense. I agree.
I bring it up because I want to address the Lions fans that are listening, because yes, I agree with every single one of you. That is a move I would have loved to have seen the Lions make. But explain to me why a guy who's pretty much in the prime of his career is going to come to a team who can't win 5 games. If you can answer me that question, I will tell you, yes, they were stupid. They should have signed him.
Because he could have played for Dan Campbell.
I agree. That's 100% the type of dude they should have gone after. It just doesn't make sense for him to fucking come here.
It did, because he could have played for Dan Campbell.
Everybody wants to play for MCDC. You don't know that?
He could have played for Dan Campbell.
Everybody wants to run through a wall for that dude.
You want him? I'll take veteran minimum. Fuck, I'll take a rookie salary.
Right.
I'll go play.
Lord. I wish I still had that. The Lions won a game. The Lions won a game, bitch.
I love that. That's one of the best ones we had.
I got rid of that one.
But yeah, I saw so many people bitching about the Lions not going after Bobby Wagner, and I was like, just explain why it makes sense.
I said the Lions won a game. Man, we going all the way. We about to celebrate.
Like, yes, you can ask Andrew.
The Lions won a game, bitch.
I told Andrew
I missed that.
As soon as he got released, I went, that's a guy I want here.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Not for him.
It's the kind of guy you want on your team.
Fuck yeah.
But depending on what kind of team you have, that's the kind of guy that's not going to come to play for your team.
Right. Especially when the Super Bowl champions just had their linebacker walk away and have a perfect spot for the guy.
Right. He's going to go, I don't want to play for a team who can make a run at a Super Bowl. I want to go play for MCDC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Not having it.
Hey, Matt, I'd love to play with you, buddy, but what do you actually think about me going to Detroit instead?
Survey says...
Like, I see all the AT&T commercials, how much you love Detroit. Is it really that great?
Right. Oh, shit. Nice.
Oh, all right. The Miami Dolphins.
We talked about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
The moves they made, trading for Tyreek Hill and...
Yep. They signed Chase Edmonds. They signed Cedric Wilson.
Yep.
Signed Teddy Bridgewater as a backup quarterback. They re-signed Preston Williams.
He was another one, though, that I thought might get a shot at starting somewhere.
Teddy?
Not that I thought he could start somewhere, but I thought somebody may roll the dice on trying to get him to start.
They're actually paying him $6.5 million for 1 year of backing up.
Holy shit.
Okay, so that's if Tua doesn't pan out, you're playing.
That's if Tua gets injured again.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to step in. I don't think they're sold on the fact he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
It's the only reason you pay a quarterback of that caliber $6 million to play for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're also hoping he can push Tua. I think they're hoping he can push him a little bit.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's a large contract for backup quarterback.
Yep.
They've made moves on the offense. They signed Raheem Mostert, who can't really stay healthy, but when he is healthy, the dude's good.
Yeah.
So they've made some moves on the offense. I like a lot of the moves they've made. So let's see here. They did sign Emmanuel Ogba, $65 million for 4 years on the defensive side of the ball, edge rusher.
Thankfully, he's the one saying these names because I would get all of them wrong.
They signed Taron Armstead, tackle, 5 years, $87 million, which is one of the offensive line signings that I like with them. They signed Connor Williams, a guard who had a very good year last year. They made two decent signings on that offensive line, which those signings right there for me, I look at that and all right, they're well improved on the offensive line. They had one or two guys last year that showed some promise, so maybe they go get a guy in the draft this year and they kind of fill that out. But I like where they're going. I really do. I like where Miami's going with this. Biggest question mark for me, we talked about it, is coaching.
Yeah.
Can the coaching staff put all this together?
Right.
Minnesota, they extended our boy Kirk Cousins.
Jesus Christ.
Whose agent needs to fucking get so much credit this guy needs to have a fucking statue built for him. He got a 1 year, $35 million extension. I don't even know what to say about that. Really,
good for you,
right? I mean, hey, yeah. They did sign Zadarius Smith. He played for Green Bay last year. They signed him to a 3 year, $42 million contract. Other than that, nothing of note really. Jordan Hicks, maybe a 2 year, $10 million deal. Not real big improvements there.
Right.
Nothing really major. New England. Let's see. What did they do big?
They got a wide receiver.
Yeah,
didn't
they just signed a wide receiver. I forgot what his name was though. It was like a decent wide receiver.
That might not be on this list. Who did they sign? Can you look that up?
Yeah.
You're right. They did just sign somebody. And for some reason right now it's falling out of my head. They traded for Mack Wilson from Cleveland. They did re-sign Devin McCourty. They re-signed Brian Hoyer. They re-signed Trent Brown on the offensive line. Re-signed Nick Folk. Really nothing major, but they did just get a wide receiver. I know
Devontae Parker.
There you go.
Parker from Miami.
There
yes.
you
Yeah,
go.
they got Parker and Ty Montgomery. They signed Butler. They also got Jabril Peppers, which I'm interested to hear your guys' take on that one. I haven't followed him too much as a pro.
He's been all right. I mean,
he's been a decent safety. So he's not really a ball hawk. He's a guy that's gonna help come up and stop the run. He's gonna be a safety that kind of roams free.
Okay.
He's almost like Landon Collins, but not quite as good. He's that type of a safety, and he's solid. He's not great.
Right.
He's not awful. He's solid.
And like I
so
said,
it's a solid move.
I haven't followed him too much, and I know he's been in New York anyway, so I don't really want to judge somebody based on the way the rest of the team has played as well.
I think in that defense, that defense might actually serve what he does pretty well.
Yeah, and playing with Belichick,
Right.
obviously we know what that can do for somebody.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that pans out for him. New Orleans. So they signed Jameis Winston.
I don't know what the hell's going on now.
2 years, $28 million. They just made a trade.
Yeah.
No, that big
got
trade
it
with
here.
with Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
Do you have it or no?
I don't have it in front of me, but go ahead. Yeah.
So the Saints are giving up this year's 18, this year's 101, this year's 237, their first next year, and their second the year after. And in return, they got this year's 16 and 19, along with 194.
Wow.
Okay. That's certainly a lot of numbers.
So
What are the Saints doing with those 2 picks?
The Saints wanted 2 picks this year in the first round for a reason.
Obviously.
Because basically you wanted 2 first round picks this year because you gave up your one this year and one in next year. Plus you gave up a second round and a couple other ones.
Right.
So you gave up a lot to get 2 picks in this coming draft in the first round. What are you going to do with those? Are they looking to package them together and move up?
I have no idea.
Is there somebody in this draft they really like? Because it's hard for me to look in this draft and say anybody truly stands out in this draft. There's some first round picks that stand out from each other, but nobody that I would be like, I have to move up to get that guy.
I feel like people are getting together to start doing that for Malik Willis.
I don't understand that.
I
Chris,
don't
I'm
with you.
either,
I don't
but
get it.
Based on the need for quarterbacks in certain places, I really just feel like that.
I don't
And
think
that's
he's
why-
that guy, though.
And I think
I don't think he's that guy.
Chris and I talking in the group text, I believe it was. Detroit would be so stupid.
I want it to happen so bad.
I hope that
I
happens.
want to.
No,
I want that-
no. I'm not saying they'd be stupid to not put it out there that they're going to draft him. Get out of that number 2 spot. Get somebody to over. You're dumb enough to do it. That's why I think it would work.
The only reason I don't think it would work, and I'm with you on this one, Chris, is I truly believe
I don't see it.
I know there's hype about him right now,
And that's what I think it is.
But I don't think there's that many teams out there that are that stupid to think that he's worth a number 2 overall pick or a number 3. Like, he's just not that guy. Now, listen, could we be wrong, and could he pan out to be a great quarterback in the league? He could. But based on what you grade draft picks on before the draft, which is not a science by any means, he doesn't grade out with the quarterbacks that have panned out to be great quarterbacks in a first round draft. He just doesn't. And I think if anybody trades up to get him, it would be a horrible fucking move.
And this is why I want the Detroit Lions to fucking do it.
I would love for them to draft him.
So
I'd love for them to
obviously,
draft
New Orleans is in need of a quarterback.
But they just signed Jameis for 2 years, $28 million. Now,
So they're obviously in need of a quarterback.
but if you're in need of a quarterback, you don't sign that guy to a 2-year, $14 million contract per year to draft a guy who you're gonna sit him for 2 years behind Jameis Winston, who you're paying $28 million to. Like, I just don't see. Again, it could be a bad move. Maybe they are looking to do that. Maybe it's just a bad move.
Well, then that's what I'm looking at. I'm wondering if they're doing the real stupid thing and they're using MCDC as their model right now, going, hey, we got a quarterback for 2. They respect him down there. That's the only reason I think it might be a chance that that's going on. Like, New Orleans did love him. But what are you going to do? Like, you're going to go with Jameis is not, I mean, he's an NFL quarterback. He's proven that he's feasible at least.
And now that he fixed his eyesight, he's a little better.
A little bit. Yeah, he at least gets the right colored jerseys. But that's why I say, like, it just, they need it. And I sit here and I look right at number 8 and I see Atlanta there, and I just feel like Atlanta and Willis is, I'm not going to say it's a fit, but I see that kind of being the spot I think he'd end up going. It does 16 and 19 get you to 7 or higher? I don't think so.
I think it gets you barely into the top 10 based on the grading system for trades of draft picks. I think it could get you near. It can't get you below 7. I think it could get you near 7, depending on what else. Depending on whether you give a second round
and
in
you
there or
kept
something
this
like that.
year's 2 in the trade. So,
Right.
okay, throw the 2 in and move yourself up to 6, maybe even 5.
It could happen.
The Giants have been talking about moving out of that spot. That's why I say, like, there's things there that I see.
That trade is really odd. there's something that they're looking to do, and it's just odd that we'll find out eventually. But they've got something on their plate.
That's why when I sent it yesterday to Chris, I was so hoping you would bite on it and we could talk, because it was just like, I have so many ideas of what could be going on with this, but I have no idea what they're going to actually do.
It's the New Orleans Saints. I honestly couldn't care less.
I only care because it's the draft.
Fair. Which we'll get more into it when we get to our draft.
For sure.
Draft extravaganza.
The New York Giants, they really didn't do anything of note other than they signed Tyrod Taylor, and I just wanted that's of note to me because I like Tyrod Taylor. I like to see where he goes. He's eventually going to play for every single team in the league.
I think so.
And
get hurt for every single team in the league.
Yep. He will. It's going to happen.
As much as I shit on the guy for the last 2 years, Daniel Jones is going to be a fucking stud now. Like, that's what Tyrod does to guys.
And Tyrod's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is going to come back in, and Daniel Jones is going to look pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's the MO.
That's what's happened. That's what happened to Baker.
Well, and they sent him to it was a 2-year, $17 million contract, which is, again, for somebody who's going to be a backup, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
So that's odd to me. But moving on, the Jets. Moving on. We're just going to move on from the Jets. I don't even want to talk about the Jets.
I'm fine with that, 100%.
The Eagles.
I mean, the trade we just talked about with the Saints. That's
the biggest thing they've really done. They did sign edge rusher Hassan Reddick to a $45 million contract for 3 years. I like that signing for them. They needed help on defense.
Does Jalen Hurts take that step up?
He has to.
Yeah.
That's what That's what has to happen this year.
And that's what I will say about what they've done. Is their lack of doing something at the quarterback position shows me that they have faith.
And that trade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That trade shows me that Jalen Hurts is their guy this year.
Yep.
That's what that trade shows me for them.
Yep.
Now, if they were smart, they would have kept those 2 picks and picked receivers, tight end, something to help
or they would have packaged them to get the quarterback they want, or something. They're basically kicking the can down the road. Jalen Hurts is either the guy this year, or next year they now have 2 draft picks in the first round to put together and get a better quarterback in a better draft class.
I was going to say it's a better draft class next year.
Right, exactly. Yeah. At least at this point in time it is. It could change.
It could.
You're right.
Right.
So Pittsburgh, they signed Mitch Trubisky to take over for
and the same thing is
Ben Roethlisberger.
He's better than Ben Roethlisberger. At this point in time, he's better.
Yes.
He's a better option.
So at the end of his career, Ben Roethlisberger was not very good. Yes,
exactly,
I absolutely agree with you.
Mason Rudolph was a better choice than Ben Roethlisberger at the end of his career.
I would not go that far. No.
I don't think he's good by any means. I just think he was better.
I side with Chris on this one. Mason Rudolph to me is fucking garbage.
He's so bad.
He's bad, and not that Ben was good towards the end of his career, but
still that Ben Roethlisberger was better than fucking like an able-bodied Mason.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he was garbage. This just goes to show you that Pittsburgh knows they fucked up with that draft pick, and they're signing Mitch Trubisky. They're like, let me try and take a retread quarterback.
Now, this is the thing with Trubisky, though. If you actually really look at his numbers,
they're not bad.
They're not bad. And he took a Matt Nagy fucking team to the fucking playoffs. So
I was going to say, I ripped on, I think it was last offseason, I was ripping on the Bills for even signing him.
I love that when the Bills signed him as a backup. I'm like, I fucking love this signing. If Josh Allen gets hurt, then they have a legitimate backup quarterback, and I'm cool with it.
And he got a couple of opportunities to show that he can still ball out. Well, I think Pittsburgh got an absolute steal.
Trubisky, it's a 2-year, $14 million contract. They didn't overpay for it.
No.
It's a great team-friendly contract. And he's a guy that, Chris, you hit it on the head. Like when you look at his numbers, and I'm a numbers guy, you all know this. If you look at his numbers, they're not bad. And you take into account he played on a Matt Nagy offensive team,
and he took him to the playoffs.
And you look at it, and you go, "All right, you got to give this guy a little props."
A little bit. Yeah. So if the Steelers upgrade their offensive line in the draft, which I think that's exactly what they're going to do,
they did upgrade a little bit. So they signed a center, Mason Cole.
Right.
They did sign a guard, James Daniels.
Yep.
They've re-signed Chukwuma Okafor on as a tackle. So they've signed a couple guys. They've re-upped a couple guys.
They're going to solidify their offensive line.
I agree with you.
I think it's exactly what they're going to do.
It seems like they're trying to do.
Yes.
I agree with you. I think in the draft they're going to address that, and I think that's the way they're going to go at it because they have Najee. They have some receivers that are decent. They now have a quarterback who they think could be the guy to take over after Ben.
And a guy that can actually throw the ball downfield.
Right. And a guy who's got legs, too.
Yes.
The guy can scramble.
Yes.
And in his early part of his career, Ben Roethlisberger wasn't really mobile, but he could still scramble out of the pocket and make some plays.
Yes.
Couldn't dodge a car, though.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Next up, the Niners. Nothing really of note other than the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the
there.
team.
Yeah. I think he gets traded on draft night.
They've actually said there's a possibility he's still on the team when it comes to next year opening day.
Really?
Opening game. First game. They've literally, it's been so bad that they've come out and said the possibility is there that he is still on this team.
I think he gets traded on draft night.
I heard
I don't doubt it'll happen, but
third was the highest offer that I had heard.
A third rounder for him?
Yeah.
Nah, that's no.
that's the offer they've gotten, I believe.
Yeah.
Is a third round.
They'll get something on draft night.
No.
Yep.
Again, a team like Atlanta who's gonna need a quarterback. A team, realistically, Indianapolis who needs a quarterback.
You take a team that's kind of like, I don't know, like maybe on the cusp, on the brink of something. They just need a step up.
Yeah.
You know who I thought would have been great.
And you know
for
how
him?
much I hate Jimmy G.
Oh, I know. But you know who would have been great for him? Indianapolis.
But he, like Frank just said, absolutely. He just said that. Yeah.
Oh,
No, this was Detroit.
Oh, Indianapolis would have been great for him.
Yeah.
But
Indianapolis would have been a great spot for him. I thought Matt Ryan was a bad move for them. I thought Jimmy G game management. If you don't put the game solely in his hands,
Yeah.
he can win you games.
Yeah.
Because he won't necessarily lose them. But if you put all that pressure on him and he has to be the one to throw you into a victory, he probably won't do it, and he's probably going to throw you out of one.
Right.
But if he's a game manager, if he's a Joe Flacco on a team like that with a defense and an offensive line and a running game, he could have been a great quarterback for that team.
Guys
I'm telling you.
fucking
Could you see him go to like say like the Giants, and you like elevate that team?
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh, it's hard to see anybody bringing them down, though.
That's true. I just don't think Jimmy G is the guy to elevate other guys around him. He's a Joe Flacco.
Yeah. We saw that in the playoffs.
He's a Trent Dilfer, right?
We literally saw that in the playoffs.
Right.
Against Green Bay.
I'm not trying to hate on Jimmy G. You do enough of that for all three of us. But he's not Tom Brady. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not even Matt Stafford. He's just not that guy.
Nope.
Is he an NFL quarterback? Yes. Can he win on a team that has a bunch of other pieces and is ready to win and just needs that game manager?
Yep.
Yes, he can. He could.
Yep.
But I don't think he would be good on a team like the Giants or even the next team up, Seattle. Like, I just don't think he would be a good fit.
I
for
think the
those
team's
teams.
in straight up rebuilding mode.
What's that?
Seattle.
It seems like they are, and some of their moves. So some of their moves seem like they're in rebuild, and some of them are like, no, we're just retooling, and it's very conflicting. It's
With
so
the NFL,
weird.
I feel like you got to do one or the other.
Yep.
You
I
can't
agree.
You can't. The Lions did this for years.
I agree.
For years, they were always in that middle. Like,
and Seattle's in the middle right
yep.
now.
It's like you got to do one or the other, man.
It's
and
why I'm interested to see if Kansas City can pull it off, because they're not completely rebuilding that team. They still have a lot of pieces, but they just have to remold it a little bit.
Right.
Yep.
Seattle, I felt like Seattle should have just pulled the trigger on the Watson trade. Like, if you're gonna go into a full rebuild, move Watson or move Wilson, bring in Watson.
I still think that's where Mayfield ends up.
It's very
I can see
likely.
that.
I still
Yeah.
think that's where Mayfield ends up. I think they're waiting for the draft, but I think that's where he's eventually going to end up. So you look at it, they released Bobby Wagner. They did re-sign Quadre Diggs. They re-signed Disley, Woods. Their moves are kind of conflicting. They're letting guys go, but then they're re-signing other guys to bigger contracts. And again, they're kind of in the middle. Like they're hovering that
They're
line.
doing some weird shit out there.
Yeah. Then obviously there was the trade with the Broncos. Right. And they got Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, and Drew Lock. Drew Lock's a castaway in that trade.
they got a bunch of draft picks too.
They did. They got a bunch of draft picks.
They got themselves back into the first round.
So the Noah Fant and Shelby Harris, I like those. Those are good pieces, right?
Yep.
And if you're just retooling instead of rebuilding, those are nice pieces to get. Drew Lock is a castaway. And then you got draft picks.
Yeah.
So I don't dislike that trade from their end either.
No, neither do I.
I love that trade from Denver's side. I think they gave away a little too much, but I still like it for them.
I wasn't a huge trade or huge fan of that trade from Denver side. I think they gave up way too much for an aging quarterback. Frankly, he's an aging quarterback that's been hit a lot.
I think it's good for them, though, because what they gave up, they're trying to win now. Those draft picks they give up don't matter to them right now because they're all in right now. So on that aspect of it, I understand what they were doing, and I think it's good for them if they're trying to win now.
Right.
I agree. I think they give up a little too much. I said it when it first happened, but when it comes down to doing what you need to do now to win that division and go for it, they're going for it. And that was the move.
But that's what we talked about the AFC West. You almost kind of had to do it.
You had to do it.
Yeah.
But no offense, Shelby Harris. I like those. I like some of the re-signings. I'm anxious to see what they do in the draft. I really am. It's weird to say I'm anxious to see what Seattle does because they're really kind of a team that's not really thought of in a light where you really care.
Maybe they'll draft Bo Callahan,
but or maybe they'll trade the draft pick.
Maybe they will. I was going to say they were out of the first round. They made that trade, got back into the first. I wouldn't be surprised if they dumped number 9 and just tried to push it down the road for a year or two.
Well, and speaking of trades, right? You said the Jimmy G trade might happen on draft day. Baker Mayfield might happen on draft day. I think it's more than likely it happens after draft day for both those guys because teams are going to reassess where they're at after the draft and say, we either got our quarterback we wanted or we got some other pieces we wanted. We didn't get our quarterback. Now we're going to make a trade for these guys.
So it could happen this Saturday.
It could happen. It could happen day 2. It could happen the week after the draft. I think it's more about these teams.
And I could
right now.
absolutely see Jimmy G getting a second round pick.
Yeah, I think it's more about these guys right now. These teams right now sitting there and saying, "Let's see how the draft pans out before we make this move."
Right.
Tampa Bay.
Some guy came back.
Who unretired?
Some guy came back and then murdered Bruce Arians. I love that meme, like the scene from Goodfellas, where they bring him to make him and they just shoot him. That's what that reminded me of. I'm like, dude, that's great.
Tell me your quarterback and your coach hate each other without telling me they hate each other.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And Bruce Arians says he stepped down for the benefit of Todd Bowles because now he can coach a better team. He's going to look better by coaching a better team. You're full of shit.
Yeah, you are full of shit.
You're full of shit. You did not want to coach a team with Tom Brady anymore.
Nope.
That's it. Nope. That's done.
It's not that he didn't want to coach a team with Tom Brady. He didn't want to coach Tom Brady anymore.
Right. He would have coached that team.
Yeah.
Anybody else on that team.
Yep. Jimmy G. He would have taken Jimmy G there.
Tom Brady shows back up. He's like, nah, I'm out.
Or Brady was just like, I'll come back. Yeah. But that motherfucker?
But that guy's gone.
That guy's got to go.
And then they went and talked to Bruce Arians. They're like, hey, Bruce, you're going to retire, okay?
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
We're just going to kick you upstairs. We'll give you some fancy title, whatever. You're good.
Brady walked back in the locker room. Bruce went, fuck this shit, I'm out.
For real.
Yep. Other than that, there's really no major. They made some re-signings. They re-signed Godwin, obviously. They re-signed Jensen.
They're trying to put most of the same squad
They
back
did
together.
sign Russell Gage. I kind of like that signing,
That's
actually.
not a bad move.
3 years, $30 million. Re-signed Fournette. A lot of theirs is re-signings and Tom Brady come back. Tennessee.
They just re-signed Gio, too, didn't they? Or did he sign
No,
someone
you're right.
else?
They did re-sign Gio, yep. Tennessee. Nothing of note other than really trading for Robert Woods. There's nothing really major here.
And letting Julio go.
They did re-sign their edge rusher, Harold Landry, to a 5-year, $87 million contract. That's a re-signing. Nothing major in the offseason other than that, though. Like, nothing big. Although they're rumored to have A.J. Brown on the trade block, which to me just seems really
And
fucking
Julio
odd.
was gone, isn't he?
Yeah, they released Julio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The Commanders, last on the list.
I don't give a fuck about this franchise.
Carson Wentz.
They traded for Carson Wentz.
I'm sure that'll go real well.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about all he did.
They need to trade for a new owner at this point.
Oh, like we talked about.
It's about time.
That's about to happen because that dude, the NFL, like we talked about with the NFL, they don't care about a lot of shit. But when they're not getting their fucking money and so one of their own is holding out money from them, they care about that shit.
Listen, you can shoot, you can rob, you can steal, you can murder, you can maim, you can rape. But if you take their money, that's totally, you can do all that shit.
Yep.
But don't take their money because
You smoke weed,
right,
or you take their money.
like that's it. Yeah, this could spell the end for him.
I think he's done.
It could spell the end for him.
Yep.
Holding out money from the other owners is a big offense to him.
He owns the Caps too, doesn't he?
No.
Okay.
No. The Ted Leon says
That's what it is.
Caps and Wizards, I believe.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the owners are like, oh, so you're holding out, really?
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Forget the revenge porn of the fucking entire cheer team that he was posting online.
Jesus Christ.
I like how it just gets swept under the rug.
That's
Nobody
just-
says shit
that
about it
dude's
anymore.
He's such a scumbag. He really is.
Yep.
But
I don't think there's a bigger scumbag in the NFL. That guy's leading the list.
I don't know. Deshaun Watson
listen.
possibly raping 22 women. That's pretty scummy.
Listen, I'll hate on the guy all I want to, but there was no rape involved. It was.
See, I didn't know what it exactly
sexual
was.
allegations with no
Okay.
rape. So I don't want to go that far.
Okay.
I don't want to slander here, but when it comes to his whole body of work,
Yeah.
Snyder's a fucking pile of garbage.
Yep. Yeah, he is 100%.
Like when you take that full body of work, you go, "Wow, man, you're not decent ever, like ever."
Nope.
And the only thing that he's willingly changed is the Redskins' name, which is like the least offensive thing he did.
And he got forced into doing it.
Right, right. Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
anyways,
All right.
one more thing I wanted to get to,
Yeah.
because obviously opening day is coming up on
Yeah,
Friday. So let's look at the Tigers a little bit. Like I love the trade that they made last night,
Fucking move
going to get
last
Austin
night.
Meadows from Tampa
It was
Bay.
a great move.
They were kind of forced with Riley Green getting hurt.
They were, but this also spells to me, and tell me if I'm wrong. You're more of a baseball guy than I am. This move spells to me that, listen, they didn't want to just sit on their hands for a couple months while Riley Green
Yeah,
rehab.
because he's not going to be back till like at least June.
Right. But also, this says to me that this was a big enough move that it's not just to hold them over until Riley Green gets back.
No.
This spells to me they're not sold on Akil Yabba-Dabba-Doo being an everyday guy in that outfield. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. And he honestly, AJ Hinch has already like mapped out how this is going to play out. Because once Riley Green comes back, he's playing.
Yeah.
like that's it.
Right.
He's playing. He's getting.
Somebody's
back
getting
to-
moved.
Yeah. So there's going to be a platoon regardless with Badu and Meadows probably for the most part. And just I'm just actually very excited about this season. I really am.
Fuck yeah.
I am too.
I like.
It's everything Detroit sports has going on right now. It just looks bright for the future. Well,
It's gonna be fun.
them maybe, but everybody else, the Wings, they're looking like they're setting up pretty good. The Pistons are incredible to watch right now. I don't know if you guys watch
Dude,
games
Cade
lately.
Cunningham is a fucking beast.
Yeah.
It's so fun to
Dude.
watch that team right now. And the Tigers, they're just setting it up to be not great, but just continue improving
Yeah.
exactly what we wanted.
I think they're going to be a fun team to watch this year.
For the first time in quite a few seasons, I'm looking forward to going and watching some baseball.
Yeah,
games.
for sure. Absolutely.
Down in Copa.
I want to see that pitching staff kind of take that next step. And I like what their lineup. I think their defense is going to be fantastic this year.
That defense,
got a lot of potential.
That defense is gonna be. They're gonna be able to keep themselves in games with that defense.
Yep. So I'm excited about it for.
I love
They finally-
Mickey being the guy to tell Torque that he made the team.
Yep. Gave him the first
right?
baseman's glove.
Take all the fucking bullshit that everybody's been saying about Mickey not giving up first base for years now and just get rid of it.
he wants to win.
Right. And that's
Okay,
all
cool,
that
man.
matters. Like, yes, that guy was one person. He's another one. We want to talk about guys outliving their past self. He's another one. I get all the shit that people have said about him, and most of it was true, but he's changed.
You should be allowed to live down your
Yeah.
mistakes.
100%.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited about baseball for the first time in quite a few years.
Yeah.
And I look at that trade from last night, and I'm like, all right, sweet. So worst case scenario, all four of these outfielders work out, and we've got to move somebody, and we can upgrade in the infield then, or upgrade with a pitcher.
I'm gonna try to get Ray down to a couple games this year.
absolutely.
Try and get
Sure.
into
Yeah,
some
dude.
baseball. I think
I'd say she's that age.
Her attention. Yeah, she's at that age, but her attention span is not going to be conducive to me being down at a ballpark for the entire game.
Right.
Other than I could take her to some other
Ferris wheel and
things.
shit, yeah.
She won't be able to just sit there and watch the whole game. But if I maybe introduce her to it and she gets into it, I'm going to start that this year. I'm
should.
looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's the right time to do it.
I do too. I do as well. 100%.
It's gonna be fun. I always loved going down to the ballpark when I was
dude.
younger.
I'm
I still
so
do.
stoked.
I still do.
I'm so hoping next Tuesday works out because I'm just like, yes, I finally
Yeah.
get to see the Sox
I
play.
I wish I could go with you,
2
bro.
years.
You and me
like-
both, brother.
I wish I could go with you.
Oh, don't worry. I'm like I told you, I'm off until the 16th of May. I will literally go to every game between now and then if you want to go. I have nothing else to do.
yeah.
Like I'm getting paid to be off work right
Yeah.
now. I have no reason not to go.
Very true.
That's true.
Yes.
I wish
Especially with $6 tickets.
I wish I was that way.
Right.
Anything else we want to get into? I do want to say rest in peace to Scott Hall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who we kicked off the show with, which
Razor Ramon.
that's one of my favorite.
Chico.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite wrestling Hall of Fame speeches that he gave there.
Greatest bad guy in the history of wrestling.
Just fucking love that. So rest in peace to him, man. And was there any other rest in pieces that we've missed?
Probably.
There probably wasn't. We just can't think of them right now.
I mean, we managed to forget John Madden over Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah,
we're forgetting somebody. But actually, it has nothing to do with sports. But
John Clayton?
Yeah, John Clayton.
ESPN's John Clayton.
Yeah, John Clayton, a big NFL commentator and interviewer
like
and
insider
everything.
type guy. Yeah.
So rest in peace to him.
Like basically like Schefter before Schefter.
Yeah. Yep.
But the one I was going to mention was Taylor Hawkins.
Oh yeah.
It has nothing to do with sports. But
No, but
That sucked.
yeah.
Yep. Rest in peace. All people who will be missed and were very good at what they did.
Yep.
And literally every one of them too soon.
Yeah. Yep. And it seems to be that way, man. It happens that way. Anything else we want to get into, boys, before we get out of here?
No, I think we're.
I mean, there's a ton of shit we can.
I think we covered a lot of shit tonight.
Yeah.
We ran for 2 hours and probably could go for another 5 more if we wanted to cover everything we missed.
Yeah.
But
And forgive me for deviating on this one, but I've said it a couple times today about being able to live down mistakes with athletes and just in general, people should be able to live down mistakes. Let's not gloss over that when we think about what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock. You know, let's not try and cancel Will Smith because he made a mistake. Let's just not try and fucking do that, man. Like let him live down his mistake and just move on.
And
man.
I'll be the guy to say it. Like, I know a bunch of people don't agree with it. Violence isn't the answer, blah, blah, blah. I get all that shit. But at the end of the day, sometimes people just say shit that they need to get smacked in the mouth for saying.
I disagree with that scenario, but yes.
He made a poor joke. Granted, everything involved in it now we know. At the time, you don't. He said something he shouldn't have. He got smacked in the mouth. Yeah, it should be something we can get past.
Yeah, I agree. People need to be smacked in the mouth a little more for things they say.
And that's why I say, like, it's not like he got knocked the fuck out. It's not like he pulled a gun on him. He smacked him in the mouth. Move the fuck on.
Listen,
it was funny as shit at the time.
Should he have done it? No. And again, you're at an event. You're in the front row. He's a comedian. He's saying things. Comedians at these fucking events, they basically roast everybody at the fucking event all the time. It happens. And if he basically just says, you know, leave my wife's name out of your fucking mouth and leaves it at that. Yeah. Cool.
It doesn't initially laugh at the joke.
Yeah, right. Like, he laughed hysterically at first. But again, he got up and he smacked him. Which in that scenario, man, if you're on the street and he says something about your wife, yeah, you smack him. Cool, I'm on your side. In that scenario, you can't do that.
Right.
But let's also not err on the side of, oh, he shouldn't have done that, so let's cancel him. He needs to lose his award. He needs to lose this. He needs to not be like he's got studios right now that are not going to do movies with him.
Yeah, everybody making a big deal about this is robbing us all of Bad Boys 4.
Like, come on now. Like, it's just, and the person in this that I actually give the most credit to is Chris Rock. Like,
just staying quiet.
Like the guy hasn't said anything about it. He didn't come back at him. Literally, when it happened, he went, "Oh, I could." All right, no.
Yeah.
He had the thought of, I could go in on you,
and he will, and he will.
He might, but at the time, he had the thought, I could go in on you, because he literally said, I could. And then he backed away from it.
And like, I want to know what those jokes were.
I think we all know what those jokes were.
Oh yeah.
But again, in the end, it's been a theme for the show for me, and not intentionally, but with it being said, with the Will Smith thing that happened, let's not cancel fucking everybody for everything they do. Let's let people live down their mistakes and just move on with life. Because the first person that can show me they're perfect, I'll call you a fucking liar.
Yeah, right.
So. With that being said, we're going to get out of here. Give us a like and share and a follow on our social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can find all the podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. As always, check out our website, SOTDET.com. You can buy one of these fancy shirts. One of these nice hoodies that you can't see behind the screen right here, but it says Sports on Tap Detroit, which is why I popped out and showed it. And if you watch Timeout with Steven Scott. Steve was actually wearing a Sports on Tap red hoodie during that episode. You can check it out there. He shows it off in the episode.
Did everybody get red SOT hoodies? I got one. You got one.
I bought one.
I don't have one.
Well, I bought one for Steve and Heather to have, being sponsors of the show.
Obviously,
I got them a sweatshirt on my own dime, just to get our name out there and to thank you and all that stuff. And listen, the more people that wear our stuff, the better off we are, right?
Did you do that for our other sponsors, Chris?
What?
Joe said that he bought them sweatshirts on his own dime.
Oh, I should probably do that.
But not where we were going with that one. Again, check out sotdet.com, sotdet.com, and check out our swag and merchandise, and maybe purchase something, or 2, or 10. With that being said,
are really comfortable.
Yeah. So with that, we're out. It's been a pleasure to come back and talk to you guys again. We appreciate you listening and or watching. On behalf of Chris and Frank, I'm Joe. We are Sports on Tap Detroit. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No. Bye, buddy.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
It's never goodbye. You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
You were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I have ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.